Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Play the Game podcast. Again, we really appreciate your guys' support. We hope you've been enjoying the journey. We have another great episode for you guys. We have so much more in the pipeline as well. We are on this mission to bring you guys nonstop content. You guys are going to love this episode. This episode is brought to you by G2 Paintball, a paintball athletics company that is designed to help you become a better paintball athlete. In paintball, you are putting your body through an intense amount of physical stress, and you absolutely need to have the correct athleticism and balance and different abilities in order to compete at the highest level. So G2 Athletics does a great job of putting you through different training regimens that help you maximize your performance on and off the field. You guys can head over to g2paintball.com, check out what they're all about, and see if it's right for you. I know G2 Paintball is something that we use here on Dynasty. They've been out to the paintball combine, and they do a great job, again, of pushing paintball players to become better paintball athletes. And that is, again, something that will transcend your game to the next level. So, once again, head over to g2paintball.com, check them out, and hope you guys enjoy that bit of knowledge. Without any further ado, we are going to hop into this episode with Ryan Greenspan. It was amazing. We talked about his upbringing and all of the amazing stories that Dynasty had in the early 2000s and how Ryan has turned paintball into a full-time business and supports his family, his fiance and his daughter, and the company that they have started to build with Field One Paintball. So we will see you guys in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game.
Came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Ryan Greenspan, Rinblade, as we call him on Dynasty. How you doing, bro?
Yo, Gramps, he made it, dude. The nursery
Made
home
it,
had him
dude.
out.
Thanks. I know, right?
It's good to see you, bro. We miss you so much. It's been crazy with all that's going on, and how's it going over there?
Good, man. It's nice. Weather's bright and beautiful. The kids doing well. Meal's doing great. The beaches are open again. Paintball's open again. So we've been playing quite a bit, I'd say. We took this weekend off. I saw you were playing.
Yeah.
But got a bunch of stuff lined up coming up here over the next month. Mm-hmm. So stoked.
Yeah, I can't believe they shut down the beaches and wouldn't let you go out and surf. What's that all about?
We got kicked out of the water. Like our lifeguard pulled up on a boat and goes, "Sorry, you guys got to get out. Everybody's got to get out of the water."
That's crazy.
Even yesterday, we went to like the bay with Sloan, and I was playing with Sloan in the water.
Yeah.
And cops had to come up. Like they didn't want to tell everybody they had to leave, but like the cops came up and they're like, "Hey, no standing on the sand. You have to be like actively doing something." Huh. And they're like, and obviously like all the ladies who, the people that want to speak to your manager kind of ladies,
Karen,
we're like, you know what? We're just standing here. We're not even doing anything. Look at the people sitting over there. Why is this any different? They're like, he goes, dude, look, it's private property over there. Yeah. This is the beach. It's not my rules. I just have to, it's a cop. Like a guy was like, he's got a gun, he had a gun, and he was just like, I'm sorry. You just gotta, and then I asked him, I was like, hey, are we allowed just to swim in the water? Cause Sloan's only going in knee deep. We were in the bay, and he's like, unfortunately, you can't even swim. You can only enter the water if you're on a board. Huh. So you have to be like on a paddle board or a boat or something. And he's like, you can't swim. You can't even be on a boogie board technically because that's not a big enough flotation thing. Huh. I was like, that's pretty lousy. He's like, I know.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's up our whole coast because I've been going to the Del Mar Beach a few times and people are in there swimming and doing whatever. Is it just down there?
So that's the funny thing. It was actually on the bay. So you're allowed to swim in the ocean. Oh, and here's the even funnier part is the boardwalk is closed. So the actual like pathway to go around. So like you have to go if you want to walk to we walk to the catamaran, right? So you park on a street and you have to walk across the boardwalk.
Yeah.
You have to, otherwise you can't get in there. Yeah. And like they were telling people that they couldn't walk on the concrete. They had to step off the concrete onto the sand and then continue on the same path. Like, wow. It's like you can walk here, but you can't walk here. And they're like,
Yeah. Those are the rules, people. Those are the rules.
Yeah. We got
That's
some
in-
strange times going on.
Yeah, this is in the San Diego area for everyone out there listening. He lives in Pacific Beach, and he's still able to go out there and surf, which is awesome.
Yeah, super hot spot in Southern California. Pacific Beach is great. The Catamaran is a really dope hotel down there too. That is like right on the bay for people that are like, "Oh, what's the Catamaran?" But I did see we saw you've been building a little water park in your backyard.
Yeah, it's a white trash water park. It's great, like there's a couple of plastic pools. One of our other friends dropped off like a bunch of these little floaty balls that Sloan just smashes around and throws into every little bush. And then Camille bought like 2 other inflatable things. Sloan's new pool is really cool.
Yeah.
It's like jungle themed. It's got a little slide that's built into it, and then it's got like these little monkeys and giraffe things that like float around in there.
That sounds rad.
Yeah, and then just a bunch of scum on the bottom because leaves fall into the. It's not like a real pool, Like our backyard just has like a bunch of just like stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Sloan's stoked on it.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. You got to make it work with the little Sloan. She's so adorable, man. You're so lucky to have such a beautiful daughter. She's healthy. You got a beautiful family, and you're just crushing it out there in San Diego. You've been living there for how long?
20 years.
20 years.
I moved down here in 2001. No, it would have been 2000. Yeah, in the fall of 2000 to go to school.
During the Mecca.
Mecca.
SDSU.
Yeah.
Nice. Damn, 20 years. Yeah, that's almost as long as I've been alive. Yeah, that's a little bit of a lie. I'm about to turn 30.
I'm about to turn 30.
Damn, dude, I'm joining the club.
Dude, it's all smooth sailing from here. As soon as you hit 30, that's when you peak.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I think 30s are going to be my prime. Absolutely. 100%. I mean, you're definitely in your prime, in my opinion. I think you're for sure in your prime.
Absolutely.
Probably not as cool as you've ever been. I think you used to be a little cooler back in the day, but definitely playing best. When you had your earrings, the bleached tips, and the white headband, you're bringing it back. I get that. It looks cool, but the white bandana was definitely elite, and you're definitely playing the best paintball you've ever played. So we do want to dive into that, right? We want to talk about like how you got into the sport, what we've been doing on the show with all of our guests. I don't know if you've been listening at all, but we want to just give a little backstory and see what captured people from their first time playing and how their story kind of progressed, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. No, I've listened to parts of a couple of episodes, and admittedly, I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but like when I'm listening to a podcast, like I have to be engaged. Like I can't be doing something else. Like
for sure.
For people who are like, oh, you can just turn it on in the background and continue along with like working on a project or something.
It's like a movie.
I'll be listening to it, and then I'll just do this, and I'll go, what just happened in the last 15
years?
Yes, because I can't. I don't know. Some people can, but I feel like it's almost like playing music, like playing the guitar and being able to sing. Like I can't do that. I can do one.
Yeah.
I can do both of them very poorly on the outside of each other. So maybe my brain isn't always talking. So I'll listen to it in a car. Like we listened to it. Kyle and I listened to it when we were driving up to ASG one time, and then Scott and I were going to listen to it, except Scott's car doesn't have Bluetooth. It only has a CD player. So
Nice.
I didn't even know that was a thing still. Admittedly, and Kyle even asked me, he's like, oh, did you hear the new Rogan podcast? Did you hear this one? I go, no, dude, I can't, because you got a pair of kids,
Yeah.
There's certain tasks that I can do while listening to the podcast. Like if I wake up and if I have to do like laundry and things like that, little chores around the house, podcast is perfect because it's mindless work. But if I have to, if I'm like answering email, anything like that, I'll listen, or even grocery shopping where I'm thinking about certain things that I have to buy. I can't listen to a podcast because I'm not paying attention fully. Yeah. So it has to be mindless stuff that I go through the motions. Yeah,
and I can't wear headphones in the house. Like, they're like, well, what's more important than this? Like, okay, there it is. Yeah. So
totally.
Yeah, I only put headphones on when I'm talking, like doing one like this, or if I'm doing something with Go Sports, or if I'm on an airplane. That's where I listen to all my podcasts. It's always on the airplanes, and obviously, as you guys understand that, we're not like that was my like go-to time, was at the airport, walking to the gates, and then that's when I can like tune out and just really focus on and get the information, because otherwise you're just listening to words.
Yeah, totally. So how much are you missing the normality that we were so used to, man? What's it been like for you?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. It's there's a good give and take, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not flying to Australia and flying to wherever and all over the world right now, but I'm also able to spend more time at Sloan and like actually work on projects. Like you guys are a perfect example of that. Like this would be a lot more difficult to get off the ground.
Oh my
And
God.
like
Yeah.
a lot of the marketing stuff and a lot of the effort that you do. And I'm sure this is true for resonates with a lot of the listeners out there, is like a lot of people have been taking on other projects, learning something new. I've been working a lot of the graphic design stuff. So like it's a give and take. I'm not out there playing paintball, but I'm still in it and supporting it and promoting it. Right. And so that's the same kind of thing, I guess, just see who comes out on top as far as the skills being diminished. Cause I remember when we played the other weekend, Marcelo, I am out of shape.
Yeah, totally. No matter what kind of workouts you're doing, if you're not playing, you're not in game shape. That's a fact. We learned that. Yeah, we play. I was like, hey, no back-to-back points. We're gonna play one and then go in, take a little break. We had a cool crew, man. That was awesome. J-Rab came and stayed with you guys for a couple days. Corey Hall and Dan Norcross from the Ironmen, who obviously they just won NXL Vegas. They came out. We had a good crew. That was a fun day.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah, for people that are listening and want to check it out, you could go over to our YouTube channel. We posted a cool little fun video. All of our videos are pretty low grade. Tyler and I are just now learning how to edit things. Ryan, you've been like a master at this, dude. You know what I just watched again? I don't know how it popped up on my YouTube, but I watched your Fandango video, bro. That was amazing, dude. That was fucking really good. That was really
actual
well
video
done.
itself, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. No, not the
Uh,
Fandango. The Fandango is a piece of shit.
yeah. The boat is a piece of shit. No, and I tell people that all the time, and it's actually funny that you say that. And like one of the things, so I'm still pretty, I guess, well versed in how to edit videos and stuff like that. But one of the things that I kind of like, I shied away from is because you want to do like a cool product. Like I want to show people like the aspect of like what else is in my life, and so we do tons of travel videos. People love the cribs videos.
Those are great.
But like I'll post a video, and this is what got me a little sour, and I don't want to offend anybody, but it's like I'll post a video of just one camera angle, me packing my gear bag, 100,000 views, 60,000.
Yeah.
I spend 2 weeks diving with whales, like free diving with whales, which I think is one of the craziest things I've ever done, and like insane. Spends countless hours of your eyes burning, like trying to find the right clips and like, editing this and then putting the music to it, and you get like 2,000 or 3,000 views, and one person's like, "Cool, that looks like fun." You're like,
what the heck?
Like, and that's why I like, dude. Hats off to Ronnie.
Yeah, he crushed it,
dude. The amount, and it gets easier. It's like anything. You're doing it more. You're getting more. It's like things. All the little pieces of the puzzle are easier to like put in. Mm-hmm. But then you also got to be the guy, and I'm always having a problem with this. The guy that goes like this.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, all right, what up? This is where we're at. And then people are like,
for those of you that are just listening and not watching, Ryan had his phone up in the selfie mode, like you're walking through the airport with the camera, like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I know it's a tough line because
I know.
Yeah. But I think Tyler and we've kind of decided we're going to dive in. So you just wait until our next practice.
We're going to be looking like
right. So here's a great example. And I'm going to try to submarine you guys as hard as I possibly can at this point. But having a partner is huge because if you're just the writer, the producer, the director, and the star, like, and I'm huge about, I want to tell a story. So if I can't tell a story, then it's just like a music mashup video, and it's just not as like engaging, in my opinion.
For sure. You have, dude. The videos that you've put out, everybody go check out Ryan Greenspan's YouTube channel. Amazing stuff on there.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'm very highly critical, like hypercritical about like all this stuff. So if I don't like it, like I have videos that I just never even, we're just like, you know what, this doesn't go with this, and I just don't feel comfortable with putting it out. But another thing that has deterred me always is Alex Fragi is for one. But whenever we're going to practice and I need to shoot content, I get zero help.
No, that's not. Listen, that is not true, dude. So does Tyler. Though. Come on, man. We help you. What do you mean, bro? Look at the photo shoot we did for your cooler ad not too long ago. We stayed afterwards. You did have to bribe us with lunch. That was great. That was great. But dude, come on. We help.
I know. But, okay, so let's flash back a couple of years.
Yes,
when Oliver and Alex would just relentlessly attack, and I'm like, dude, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like get something going here, and they're like, and then or you're like just at the exact mark, and you're hitting all the everything on all cylinders, and you're hitting every mark that you're trying to talk about promoting something, and then Alex goes blah 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 blah, dude. Or another great one, because I know you guys got the email from Eric and was like, hey, can you guys all just film some content, like, hey, this is why I chose my force, and here it is. And Eric and Yosh and Alex are like all trying to like this is what we need, and we're trying to write this email together. I go, hey, you jackasses, I was trying to do this, and Alex had to shoot his gun full auto every single time right behind us. When I'm like, again, we're hitting everything on all the marks, and Tyler's like, the white here, and the Tiger Zord, and then this, and then Alex.
Oh wait, you literally were doing those videos at practice. You're right, and we all did them, and none of them were okay because people are fucking around. And so you're right. I didn't even realize that when I got the email. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I could do that. A couple quick
these guys are geniuses. Great idea.
Right? Damn, yeah, it's tough. You need to have the team on board. And actually, Ronnie, his team supports him in his whole thing, which is super cool.
I think a big thing. And not to say like, I'm not saying you guys don't.
Just let it be known we support you.
I know you do. I know.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes it gets if it's just that there's one bad apple in the group,
it rots the whole thing.
It rots the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's the beauty of the rotten fruit.
There's a balance though. When we're at, the layout weekend practices, it's tough because you want to focus as much time as you can on the field. But there is a sense, and we're going to get into this too later, Ryan, because turning paintball into a business is something you've done better than anybody. You're kind of the godfather of that. Mm-hmm. You still do it. And it's like, you do have to have that aspect. You have to market what you're doing. You have to showcase things, and you have to be creative with it. So there's a balance, if you're chasing a professional paintball career. Now, if you just want to be a hired gun for one of these teams for a couple years, different story, sure. But if you want paintball to be a career, there's a lot of this stuff that you have to do, which you've done your whole career. Hopefully, well, Ty and I were talking about it, dude. I think our next practice is going to be pretty fun because we're all in, and so it's just going to be fun, dude. We can't wait. And everyone's just going to have to shake it off, man. Like we're going to be live, we're bringing the beauty.
I think what Marcelo is trying to tell you is he's coming for your spot.
Dude, I've been waiting, man. I'm waiting. And don't worry about it. I'll be in the background with a mega horn right when you guys are wrapping up your video.
We can't wait. That just makes the show, dude. That's what it's all about, right there. Hey, so right, I know you started off with Yosh in the Bay Area. That was your road dog, like coming up through the ranks. If we can get kind of your take on how that all progressed and how you ended up, being such good friends with Yosh and then being on Dynasty.
Yeah, it's actually funny, and actually Yosh, when I was doing the Go Sports thing, the At Home with Dynasty that both of you guys did also, so thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. That was a super cool segment.
It's something that because no one was we couldn't get any of those explanations of why the guns meant so much to you done at practice. I had to figure out another way. But yeah, so I actually. And I must have forgotten or something, but I totally have forgotten that Yosh and I actually went to preschool together.
That's crazy.
Like down the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we actually didn't start really hanging out like best friends until we started playing paintball. We'd actually hung out a couple times before that. But his brothers, I think, had picked on me a little bit when we were at his house. And I wasn't vibing with it. So we decided that the friendship was going to have to take a little hiatus until we had another mutual, kind of friendship thing to do. But yeah, we grew up like, if you were to like zoom out of our houses, like he was maybe a mile, like as the crow flies away from me, but like maybe like a 5-minute drive.
Yeah. That's literally what he said. Did you listen to that episode? You had to have.
No, yeah.
No, I only
literally said as the crow flies.
There you go.
You guys old Northern California. Hella crow flies.
Yeah, I hella know Yosh. I know him hella well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I probably said that because I know that's like I've heard him explain our relationship.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I know that was his phrase, so I was just taking
gotcha.
There you go.
Regurgitation.
Mm-hmm. I like how that sounds. As the crow flies, is the
it does sound cool. I don't really even know what it means, but like a crow flies from house to house, like
so if I was to race a crow.
Yeah,
from my house to Yosh's house, I don't have to take the roads and the thing. Next thing you know, it's like a 5-mile journey.
Oh, but so the straight shot instead of the roads. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Gotcha. Isn't there a more updated term for that? That's like how airplanes fly.
As the drone flies.
as the drone flies.
As the Wi-Fi signal moves.
I like it.
All right, my bad for interrupting.
That's all right. Oh yeah. So let's like say maybe 96 ish, right around there. We started to become better friends, and I don't know how it was presented, but he was like, someone was going to play paintball. I think it was for a birthday, and I remember so vividly driving in his brother's like this boat of a Cadillac or like something, and we're just like winding these hills, like an hour and a half out into the middle of nowhere to go play some paintball. And it was like back then, you can only get a pump gun or a VM68, and we're 15 years old, so we got the cheapest thing we could get. And the experience wasn't terrific, but it was like kind of like a lot of people's first experience where the equipment wasn't the best equipment, but it was like such an exhilarating rush that like it stuck with us. And obviously I can remember it from 25 years ago. So, I mean, or more. So like, that's how profound that day was at Paintball Hill. It was really, really cool. And, and then from there, like a couple kids on our block. So we grew up kind of, I don't want to say in farm country and farmland. Because it wasn't much of a.
Dude, you had a 7-foot llama. You grew up in farm country.
I've had horses. My mom would always get like the bargain horses. like we had a thoroughbred that they were like, this thing can't race. It sounds like when someone has a thoroughbred, it sounds like that's a pretty dope horse to have. Yeah. The thing was too clumsy, and so they're like, we either have to take care of it or give it away. So those are the horses that we had, and like. Dude. I do have a 9-foot
an ostrich. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, we actually tried to trade the llama for the ostrich to my old boss at the paintball store. He's like, "Cool, I'd love an ostrich." Like, I don't know how that conversation even came up, and we're like, "All right, cool, you can get rid of it." Yeah. And I know we're getting off the topic from the Yosh thing a little bit, but this is a funny story. So, my Richard, the co-owner of the paintball field at Pacific Paintball, pulls up one day with a horse trailer and then unloads this llama. Llamas aren't the most friendly creatures. Now my mom's stoked because now she's just upgraded her animal game to a llama, which you literally don't even know there's no use for llamas on this planet. Nor is there a use for an 8-foot ostrich either, except unless you want a huge liability at your house. Yeah. So if you're unfamiliar, for those of you guys who are listening and unfamiliar with an ostrich it's a giant dinosaur. Yeah. Okay, it's a prehistoric creature. It's a flightless bird, and its neck it stands from feet, which is its feet are 3 massive velociraptor talons, right? Like this, and then it's got like lizard legs, legs, like with scales on them, and they bend backwards, right? They bend the other way, so it's easier for it to come out and slice gut you if it needs to. Then connected to that is this large, like egg-shaped body. Okay. And then now you're at 4.5 feet tall, right? Yeah. This is where its neck starts, 4.5, 5 feet tall. And his neck is like a 2.5 to 3 foot, like, snake python with a gnarly beak on the end of it. Right? So, and as it runs, it's like whipping its head around and they're really fast. So anyway, what I'm getting at is the llama just walked right out of the horse trailer, and then here we are left with trying to figure out how you coax a dinosaur into the horse trailer, right? So we have like a rope, and we're trying to pull it in there, and the thing is going nuts. And if it kicks you, you're going. I mean, if you can make it to the ER, you're maybe in good shape, but otherwise you're picking your intestines up off. You're holding them in like an old war movie. So needless to say, my boss Richard left that day after he dropped off the llama, and we kept the llama and the ostrich.
There we go.
Nice.
And the llama is now long dead, and the ostrich is going to be alive for another 25 or 30 years.
That ostrich loves you, right? You guys were best friends growing up.
Hates him.
Yeah. Hates is an understatement. Hates him. Like at one point in time, I don't think I was home for like 2 or 3 years when I was living down here, and I went home like 3 years after being away at college. Yeah, and the thing charged the fence and was about to break it down. Yeah. I mean, his brain is like the size of my thumbnail. I don't understand how that works, but it loves my mom.
It's the size of a velociraptor with a brain the size of a thumbnail.
Yeah, exactly. And the inability to reason. Yeah. So what I was getting at with I know this is a roundabout way, but like we all had some land. So like 1.5 acres is what I lived on. And then Yosh had like about 2.5 acres. And I think he had a horse at one point in time also, just kind of like
Yeah.
what you do with all that space,
Yeah.
I guess. I don't think he ever rode horses, but so we built a paintball field in our backyard, basically, because like a couple kids on our block would all get stuff, and I just bought like the basic $120. I got this Diablo 2 pump, which actually almost took me out. I'll explain that story one time. This Diablo 2 pump, which was like one of the cheaper guns you could possibly get, and then a JT Whippersnapper mask, which like only covered your teeth and lips, and then your eyes, and then
your cheeks are hanging out.
Your jowls are hanging out, and then we like literally we spent like every day after school we'd just go out and we'd play some paintball with like a bunch of pump guns, and we'd shoot at each other a little bit, and then we dig a bunch of trenches and dig holes in my backyard, and like,
No way.
like we made this field. Like there's 2 big patches of this coyote brush stuff that like that's where one base was, and that's where the other one is. And we would always invite like all the kids over from school to like, hey, we're gonna go play paintball. And we started a huge crew. Like everybody on the block got paintball guns, and then like a couple other kids at school started getting paintball guns, and then everybody would come over, and then we'd have to expand a little bit, so we'd get like old bales of hay, and we had these chicken wire bunkers because we had tons of chicken wire there. So like, which is a kind of a cool bunker to make something out of because you can see through it, but you can't shoot the guy.
Yeah.
And then when we grew out of my field, we moved over to Yoshi's because he had a lot more land. And actually to the point where when we started getting a lot more serious in paintball and actually having team practices, I think Out of Control practiced the Ironman there at Yoshi's house. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. It was like NPPL practice, because this is before we were playing on hyperball and airball.
Yeah.
So we were still in the woods. So we actually had a full on practice at Yoshi's house one time, which was really cool.
Damn.
But yeah, man, Yoshi and I we were really in it, and we would play like every day. And then like my mom would live near or worked near the paintball store, Pacific Paintball, and so she would go in like every Wednesday or whatever, one day a week with everybody's CO2 tanks, and the guys hated her.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, here comes this lady, because now they have to fill like 15 CO2 tanks. I remember they told me the story. They're like, God, we used to hate your baby, not hate her, but like, this lady, she's only spending $15, but we have to spend 45 minutes or an hour filling up all these CO2 tanks. She would drop them off in the morning and then go to work and then come pick them up on the way home. And then I started slanging paint.
There we go.
So I'd buy a box of paint for $2,500.
Dude, so you were in the business side of paintball from the moment you started, man. It's just how your brain works.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't really afford to like continue. Like we could afford like a $4.50 for a 20-ounce CO2 fill, but like if we're buying paint by the bag, it was $6 back then. So everybody listening to this also who complains about paint prices, let me put something into perspective. It used to be $6 for 100 paintballs of like premium gold, $8 for 100 rounds of Marbleizer. Yeah. Okay, you can get a box of paint for $25 right now in some places in California, especially. So. Anyway, if I'm spending $6 a day to play paintball, the lawn doesn't grow fast enough for that. My report card didn't come out fast enough for me to get $5 for an A or something like that. Yeah. So basically, I'd have my mom front me the $120 or $100 for a box of premium gold, and then I would divvy out bags of 100, and I would sell them all for $5.
Nice.
So I'm undercutting the paintball store right off the break.
Yep.
And I can sell 2,000 rounds basically for $100, and then I get 500 of my own.
Yeah,
dude,
I was basically playing for free, and then I was selling paint.
That's Ryan Greenspan, everybody, right there.
There we go.
Businessman extraordinaire.
Yeah, and I think it's important that people know that and like kind of understand like where the upbringing is, because a lot of people are like, man, it must have been great for you, have everything paid for, and you guys probably had it so easy back then, probably have wealthy parents, and some people who are in paintball do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's important that you figure out like how to when you meet adversity, like how to like overcome that. Like what's your perseverance to be able to like move past like the obstacle in your way. And that was like I really wanted to play paintball. And I talk to kids. I'm sure both of you guys do. I know you guys do. When people are like, hey man, I'm really trying to do this, and what do you recommend I do in order to like kind of like I really want to continue to play paintball? It's like, dude, you got to work hard. Get good grades, like focus on whatever your goal is, and then like mow those lawns.
Seriously,
right? Get good grades, like whatever you have to do to be incentivized in order to like be able to afford to do this. You got to grind and do that. And that's also, Yoshi and I started working at the paintball field or a paintball store for $5 in store credit. $5 in store credit an hour. We were literally like we were making $5 an hour
Wow.
in store credit only, and we did not get a discount. So we had to I worked for like 3 weeks to be able to buy a 12-inch stainless steel die barrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like for $159.
Full retail.
Full retail for a barrel. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, and Yoshi's the same way. Like he worked forever to get that nickel plated autococker.
Yeah.
and that's like actually cool because that's his inspiration.
Yeah,
right when I saw it,
super cool. Yeah.
You guys, I don't know if you guys knew like right away, but right away when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's awesome. You know,
full circle on that thing.
No, we didn't, but that is so cool. Yoshi's nickel plated signature series Force is based off of an autococker.
Yeah, like one of the first, like he had an auto mag before that, but like the STO autococker was it was center feed autococker, and it was like the dope, and he had this nickel plated one that was on the wall at the store for a while, and he's like, dude, I'm getting that gun, you know, like we really are up in the attic with open exposed like sheetrock everywhere, and we're like just screwing little things together, sweating in the summertime. Like there's no AC up there. Tyler, you know, that's been in plenty of attics in his life, you know.
Yeah.
And man, we lived up there.
It's the full experience up there. Yeah, Yoshi was saying that you guys would even like throw dirt clots at each other in the beginning, like, you know, just running around.
Well, yeah, that's actually so taking a step back, when we first started, like we didn't all have the type of equipment, so we had to get creative, and like kids wanted to play, like people wanted to play, and we wanted a bigger crew, so we're like, hey man, here, you can use my gun this time, right? You got to get them hooked, right? Same thing we're doing with Force, you're not really, you know, take mine out there, have a spin. So they'd play with the pump gun, and we would run around with a trash can lid and either tennis balls or dirt clods or like a Ziploc. We didn't even have water balloons, dude. We had Ziploc bags with water in them so we could reuse them. So if you got wet at all, like, and you'd be surprised. Like if you have a little shield and someone only has a pump gun, like you're kind of dink, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're going to get to this next bit berm. And like we spent like lots of time digging out trenches and ditches and stuff. And it was a really good time. Our neighbors hated us because
that's super funny. Someone just hit me up recently from like middle school that used to, we never played paintball together, but I was obviously already playing paintball, and we would always, all of my friends would always play airsoft, like in their backyards, whatever we could to like kind of mimic paintball. That's what I was trying to do, you know, is mimic paintball. And then from airsoft, he started playing paintball, got into it a little bit, but he just hit me up and was like, dude, I'm getting back into the game. I'm looking for some equipment. But you're right. Like when we would play airsoft, not everyone had guns. Mm-hmm. We did do the water balloon thing. We never did the dirt clod thing. We also didn't use Ziploc baggies as our water balloons. We got real water balloons.
Balloons.
Yeah. But like we would just turn chairs over, whatever it was, to create bunkers, you know, like
bunkers,
it, like that passion from a young age playing the game was so raw, you know, and it, like it's I do think majority of people that started playing at a young age had, especially in our time, I don't know if maybe the times have changed and that's not cool to do anymore because people want to play video games, whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah. But back then it was so cool to be outside and find ways to play essentially cops and robbers with your friends, you know, and like run around and you're trying to shoot each other. It was just badass.
Well, yeah, actually, I think you touched on something that I think is really important. And an important takeaway is like, we didn't have, well, maybe you did. I didn't have
TV.
There was no, I had TV. No, I had a Nintendo, but like, if you want to like interact with a friend, you had to call them and get them over, or you have to go over. It's not like we can be like, hey, let's all sign on at this time and let's get on a Zoom meeting, or like, let's do this something. So you did have to go outside for that experience. So like to get a large group of friends together that we could do it locally, because none of us could really drive, but a parent can drop you off like a mile down the road. That's no big deal, you know. And the paintball fields aren't open on the weekdays, and so it's really important. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people are missing out on, is that type of experience, that actual physical interaction. And I think, and this is something I know, Marcelo, I've told you this before, is like, I think that video games, while they do maybe have some great aspects of maybe I don't quite understand, but I do know for a fact, I do have a theory that like the ability to be able to have a headphone on, not see your opponents, but still be able to like talk shit about them or to them, and then immediately turn your game off.
Yeah. Psychologically, it's horrible.
Yeah, psychologically, bad.
Yeah, I think there's some benefits with like reaction time. Again, you have to already be in a
right.
state of mind of understanding what you're doing playing a video game, and you can reap some benefits.
Mhm.
I think, you know.
Yeah.
But you're
I'm with
right,
you.
dude. You're 100% right. Yeah,
I'm
like
with you, Ryan. It takes
Yeah.
away from the human connection
Yeah,
aspect.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and you
and I
just
mean,
you could say whatever you want and you log off. And then like
Yeah.
log off,
you
and now
you
you're
don't
the winner.
face
Like,
any
I just won.
yeah, exactly. You don't face any repercussions. You don't have to deal with confrontation face to face. You don't
Right.
have to sit there and confront your mistake or the ideas that you just proposed to someone. Like
That's another
yeah,
huge
you
one.
just
Is
run
like
away.
if you make a mistake and you're like so frustrated and you don't want to deal with it, you just turn it off and walk away. Right.
Yeah.
Whereas like if we make a mistake, we're
Yeah.
eating each other's lunch a little bit here, like on the field. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like you gotta fix that. You gotta fix that. And we are able to then like figure out a way to fix it. But if you're playing a 1-player game and you're just out talking shit to somebody in Singapore and then you're like, oh, got him, or he beat me and I'm just pissed, so I'm just gonna turn this off and quit.
Yeah.
I do see when I'm doing some clinics and doing some events out there, you could see people get really frustrated, but not be able to like figure out the problem and solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like I'm just taking my gear off. I'm out of here. Like,
Yeah.
well, let's not do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying that like that is 100% because of video games, but I feel like there could be a correlation between the two. It's an easy explanation. Like it makes perfect sense to me now. Like if you explain it like that.
Yeah. It's
so I don't know, maybe
a lot of hardwiring going on in the video game world right now.
But just like you said, Marcel, like we had to go out and like get creative to like do something out and like outside and get all your friends together. Otherwise, I mean, my video game console when I was growing up only had 2 controllers. You can only play 2 players. You can only play Mario or Contra with 2 people. So
it was like a stone little thing that you hit together, and there's like these
stones and sticks. Sticks and stones will break your bones.
In my like mind, I just imagine like the Little Rascals movie of all you guys out there playing paintball, having fun, and like, dude, that sounds like some timeless memories. And for everyone out there, just get outside and enjoy the weather, enjoy the paintball field, enjoy people. And I know it's been crazy times, and we've all kind of been cooped up a little bit, but that's really the humanness of this experience, and we definitely have to tap into that more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
right. So you guys like you have young kids, really good friends, had the passion for paintball, started working in the paintball store. How did obviously Dynasty came a little later. You guys, I think, played for Cat Factory. You guys created this Iron Kids thing. Like, how did the evolution go from your perspective?
Yeah, actually, that's actually.
And how did you meet Alex and Oliver? So
Yosh and I. So once Pacific Paintball was growing and growing, actually they created the brand Cap, Kick-Ass Paintball Products.
Yeah, and
they made like really high end, like super rad, like titanium pump arms and like rock regulators and like all the stuff that goes on autocockers and automags. Like he like actually created the tournament locking system that you can adjustable tournament locking system for the old regulators that didn't. It wasn't a screw-on bottle. They were all the regulators for air were like mounted on the bottles and the guns, Armageddons, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, Pacific Paintball turned into Cap, and then basically when it got upgraded into a larger facility is when Yosh and I were then able or allowed to move out of the attic and then have some more workspace, and then we were moved to the front of the store. Like if someone needed to we actually started doing sales,
moving up.
Yeah, retail sales, and that's kind of where we ran into Alex and Oliver was because they would always come up from Marin, and Alex's dad would drive the two of them up there to buy some paint or look at some stuff, and so they were these like little punk kids that were coming up, and we were the punks that worked at the store. I'm sure that they're saying like, God, those dudes are such jerks and dickheads.
We got to get their side of this. So far, we only have you and Yosh.
They'd roll up in the old Bronco, and then they would spend a lot of time talking about stuff.
Sorry, the Bronco that Alex drove for like 17 years, that one?
No, so Alex's dad drove it. And I really hope he still has it. I'm not totally sure. But, dude, they would roll up to the paintball field all the time. The engine had been replaced 5 times, like 5 full engines. When you're driving, like you can see the road like, through the floor, through the rusted floor. But anyway, they would always roll up and like, I don't want to. We weren't friends. Like we didn't really know them aside from like, oh, here come these Marin County assholes coming up here to buy some paintball stuff. we kind of hit it off a little bit more because of the paintball field and Eric Crandall, who's now our business partner and our longtime manager.
Shout out to Cran.
Shout out to Cran. So basically, Yoshi and I would work at Pacific Paintball building all the cap products, and then that got us free entry fee into Mare Island, and Mare Island was the home to like a ton of incredible talent. And so we got to play out there, and then we ended up getting a job with Eric. So because Alex and Oliver would also, well, I don't think Alex ever refed. I'm not totally sure, but I know Oliver did work as a ref at the field, and so basically you'd ref, you get a half a case of paintballs if you're the beginning ref guy, and then you could use those half case of paint tomorrow, like on Sunday. So you ref on Saturday, be able to play on Sunday. Ref on Sunday, be able to play on Saturday. So that's like another way that we were able to do it. Because obviously, me working all week for $5 store credit, like I guess I could buy like half a case of paint at the end of the week, but I was really saving up for something like cool that I needed to get, a new view loader or something.
Yeah.
So we'd also work at the paintball field.
Awesome.
And that's kind of where we ran into him. And actually, I was watching the live show that Alex and Yosh just did, which is a really good one on the Field One page. Yeah. And he did a little Dynasty trivia, and he said, what was the very first paintball team that Yosh and I played on together? And it was Lofty.
That's right.
Is the team name.
Yeah.
So Eric Crandall, this is why we owe it all to Eric. So we were only on a team against each other. So Yosh and I were on the A team. I don't know if you heard of that. And then Alex and Oliver were on the Monkeys with his dad, and like I think his sister Amanda played on the team, and then like his cousin Noah. And I just love this story because like they weren't any good. We were way better. And
Amanda played Alex's sister.
Amanda played, yeah.
I didn't know that.
She was
That's
better than
crazy.
Alex. Yeah. Get Oliver on the horn. Get Oliver on the horn. Like everybody wanted Amanda on their team, but not Alex for sure. Well, actually, no, you wanted Big Rich on the team because he wore this big puffy vest and he just never got went out. And he had a triple finger trigger on his
oh god
that he designed himself. So
wow,
yeah.
Big
So anyway,
Rich, everybody's Alex Frazier's pops.
Yeah.
He owner of Great American Paintballs, was a big sponsor of Dynasty back in the day.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rich.
Shout out to Rich.
Much love to Rich.
Yeah, he's great. And I'll get into like the story of how he helped us get a leg up in paintball also, because we owe, I don't even know, like everything to Alex and Richard and stuff.
Yeah.
But so Eric Crandall, there was the Great Western Series was like the cool, like that was the event to like play in. Well, the MPPL was the big one, but the Great Western Series would be equivalent to like the WCPPL or like the Sunshine. I don't even know, the MXSB PPL.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like the Best in the West when I grew up. Best in the West was the prominent local travel series that went to like local fields.
Yeah. So like everybody has like their regional event that kind of like is what you should want to play. You got to play those. So anyway, it was a 10-man event, and Eric put together this team called, it was actually, I think we were Lofty 2 because there's already a Lofty, and it was down in San Diego. It was actually at Camp Pendleton.
Nice.
The original Camp Pendleton.
Wow.
And we rolled down there and we only had 8 guys.
Yeah, of course.
10-man. So we had Eric Crandall, which you guys I don't know if you've had the opportunity, the pleasure to be able to play with Eric, but he was terrible. He had one move and it was the freight train. Yeah. He's like, we should just freight train this side. Like that was his game planning. He wore a t-shirt that wrapped around his head.
So yeah, Eric, go get him, baby.
I love that. Baby. I think he still likes us to do that. He says, you guys got to freight train the snake side. Freight train this side, yeah. So Eric Crandall, I think he had just acquired the field. Otherwise, he was like a managing partner or something. Mm-hmm. So he took Alex and Oliver, Yosh and I, and Oliver had just bought this autococker from this guy, Rich No. Mm-hmm. And Oliver, like the autococker didn't work. If you don't know autocockers well enough, like they're fine. Like they're very finicky. You have to they're race cars in the red. And they're like any little thing, like it was polished too much or not enough, or this pressure's off here and this is off. Like there's so much ebb and flow with those guns to be able to make everything balanced properly. Well, the one that Rich No sold to Oliver, let's just say it didn't work very well, but it looked really cool. Yeah. And Oliver's other gun was a Spider. Yeah. Which is like they're the AK-47s. Like they always, and
but they weren't that tight, you know.
Yeah, of course.
It wasn't a tournament gun.
Mhm.
So Oliver like insisted on always using this gun,
Mhm.
and we're playing this tournament. We're already playing with 8 guys. We don't even have 10 dudes. And Oliver keeps going on the field with a broken gun. Dude, we're like, Oliver, you gotta stop using that gun. He's like, okay, I will. And we all leave the staging area, and Oliver had his gun. And then all of a sudden he'd run up there and he'd have that autococker again. It wouldn't work. We had to lock this autococker, lock it in the car, so he couldn't have access to it. And we actually in the very last point, actually we had gotten Keely Watson and Ryan Watson played with us for a couple points, so we had 10 guys. But that whole day, the whole tournament, we never touched the flag. We never won a point. We never won a game. Back, you know, so the closest we got was our last game. We're down. We have 8 guys, and I remember the field perfectly. And Eric goes, "All right, guys, we're freight trading this one." he's been proposing it every single game.
Now's the time.
We didn't want to listen to him, but we hadn't won a game, and this is our last game playing the Naughty Dogs. And this field actually could have worked really well for a freight train because it was flat and there's
wait. You're playing the Naughty Dogs at this time?
Yeah.
And this is so this is the when they started.
96, 97. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So like, because Naughty Dogs obviously came up to be I only know them in the pro division. And then when they played D1 and PSP against you guys, but that was essentially pro.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. So they were the team from the Pacific Northwest, and we were they were the favored team, I guess at that point maybe. But we're in the rookie division, so it was like rookie, novice, amateur A, amateur B.
Wow.
So we were playing rookie, and this is our first major tournament outside of the Spider Cup, not a Spider Cup, the Maryland Cup that we played, you know. So here we are, last game, and we're like, we agree with Crandall, like we'll freight train them.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we'll send 6 dudes over there, and we'll only put 2 up on the high side to like hold it off, hold it down. So Yoshi and I I'm like, all right, actually no, that's not what we were part of the freight train. I was just the back part of it, and we're sprinting, like, here we go, charge, and we're running down this narrow little path, and you just hear, and I just peeled off. I'm like, I'm not gonna freight train into here. So Yoshi and I find ourselves on the top of this hill, and we're like, all right, what do we do? And we just see our bodies walking off, and like it was a catastrophe, you know. Like we stormed the beaches of Normandy, and I just pinned it out of there.
I thought it was gonna work. I thought you said
not even close. No, I don't know if anybody's ever freight trained you before, but it doesn't work. Like whoever that lucky guy was that was was on the other side, just pumping our guts up as we're sprinting at him. So. And I think like one of our other buddies, Tom Palachuk, was on the other far end, and you can hear a little commotion over there. But the one benefit of the freight train is the guy probably didn't think that there were still 2 more guys that are about to run at him. So Yoshi and I like sneak around. I think we shot one of them, and we come down this little hill, and you could see the flag. It was like, imagine that we hadn't touched the opponent's flag the whole entire tournament.
Hey, and so keep in mind, just to clarify, this is total woods ball. We're not playing air ball. It's not hyper ball. Right. This is like big woods fields back in the day. It's all that was around. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember this like so clearly also is like, peering through the bushes, right? And then there's this sun beaming down right on this one spot. And that's where the flag is just sitting there. And I'm like, all right, Yosh, let's do it. Right. And he's like, yep. And I take one step and just get worked by somebody. And I just remember this was like me kind of like walking out in the open. I'm like, oh man, like maybe Yoshi's gonna get it. And here comes Yoshi sprinting. Yeah. and outstretched like maybe 10 feet away from it, and then just gunned down. Yeah.
Damn. So the freight train didn't work.
Freight train, I don't think has ever worked.
Yeah.
We need a lot of bodies for the freight train.
Yeah, you need at least like a flying V. That's what we've done that a few times in some Nations Cups, things like that.
Yep, we have. Yeah. I mean, whoever the guy in the front is just taking it for the team. That's for sure. that is the moral of those stories. Yeah. So yeah, that was our first like major I would call it major tournament experience, and after that, you know, Yosh and I just kept playing locally and working at the field. And I got on Out of Control. And that's also when the Diggers started around. So like, I think Alex and Oliver were on the Diggers, maybe with Yosh, or maybe me and Oliver were on Out of Control. Forgot how the breakup there was. And then we were playing in all the NPPL events. My actually very first NPPL World Cup was with Out of Control. And those guys actually were still on. That's when maybe they formed. No, they were Lofty. So 98 World Cup, I made it onto the amateur B team, and then those guys were on the novice team as Lofty, and that's when we met Kevin Brettauer, Brian Cole, Todd Martinez. I think was actually probably on the Ironman already at that point, or maybe no, he was playing on Out of Control with me.
What was your favorite gear from the past? Like the most nostalgic gear that you absolutely love?
I really like the Flex 7s. Like I loved, like my thing was like to roll those Flex 7s up. I love those things, like those are super rad. And this was actually 98 was when the very first sublimated jersey came out.
Oh wow.
So we were all wearing mock turtlenecks, and I don't know if you remember those old JP racing type ones. And then that year, like we won 98 World Cup is Out of Control, and we immediately got a JT sponsorship right then and there. And like we were up on stage, and like really it was cool. Wow. Sweet. They gave us all the new jerseys, and we're like, dude, we made it. Yeah. Right. And then the following year was 99, and that's when we had started Cap Factory started. And then that's when Alex, Oliver, Kevin, Brian Cole, all those guys were playing with us. Chuck Hench started playing with us, and we won World Cup, the amateur A, amateur B, and then I think we won it like 3 years in a row. And then and then Dynasty started, and then Iron Kids were mixed in there a little bit because we still wanted to play. Yeah, those were only in the Great Western Series.
Yeah, sorry, right. You said this is like you owe it to Crandall. Did Crandall? I don't know if you clarified when you guys played at the Lofty 2 team. Mm-hmm. Who was on that team?
So that was the team where we did the freight train at the end of the event. Right, that was Eric Crandall getting. So it always started with like our group meeting another group through somebody, right? So Eric Crandall put together this Lofty team, and that's when we first kind of like, and we had already known Alex and Oliver.
Okay.
So it was Eric, Alex, Oliver, Yosh, me. I think this guy Sean Murphy, Tom Palachek, and Trevor Foster are the names. Trevor Foster's parents own Foster Farms Chicken, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
let's get him back in the game.
I know. Let's get him up.
Dynasty needs some sponsors.
I know.
The owner of Foster Farms. Wow.
Yeah. He's a big dog there, I guess, right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like in the Central Valley, Foster Farms, where I used to live, is huge.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Wow.
He's the Foster.
Dude, so
that was your guys' first exposure playing together. And how was that experience? Did you guys like clash on game plans? Did you because you and Oliver are notorious for clashing on game plans and stuff like that. We'll get into that, but
back then it was a lot different, right? Because I mean, it was our first major tournament, so I don't know what type of game planning input I gave, other than probably understanding that a freight train wasn't the best type of game plan. But I'm glad that But that's the other thing is like, all right, well, prove me wrong. Okay, well, we did it. Now we just got rid of that one, Sure, okay. So Oliver might still be stuck on that type of game planning. I'm going to do it till it doesn't work or something. Anyway, that was the first time, and that must have been 97, I think.
Okay.
Because then 98 is when I joined Out of Control. The end of 98 is when I joined Out of Control, and then the Lofty team was still kind of there together, and that's when Eric Crandall organized Lofty to go play 98 World Cup. And then that was still Alex, Oliver, Yosh. I'm pretty sure that's when Kevin Brettauer and Brian Cole, the two. Yeah, that's because they played together down in Southern California. And I'm pretty sure I played with Todd Martinez on that 98 team.
You went off on your own thing for a little bit, even Okay.
Yeah. I got picked up by like the dope team in the area, right?
You were the best out of the 4.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't get picked up, like no disrespect or anything, but like that's an amateur team that was a big deal back in the day. I remember like when I first started playing amateur B, those were the hot dogs for sure. Amateur B, amateur A, and then pro.
Yep.
That's
right. And then we started the Cap Factory team, which is was pretty well known. And then in between that, because then at that point, I think actually interesting story is because we from Mare Island, we had kind of mingled with some of the Ironman guys, Shane Pastana, Marty Bush, Davey Williamson. I think you heard the story where I almost blew his teeth out one time because he was only wearing goggles. And did I see that story? Yeah, he was only back then. You could get away with only wearing goggles and just having your face and jowls, and cheeks, and everything out. And people would do that, and they're like, "Yeah, sometimes you might get a bouncer in the cheek." And you're like, "What?" Your mouth is open anyway. So I remember
you could get shot in the throat and not get called out because they can't see it.
Yeah. Dude, I couldn't tell you, dude. It made no sense to me. But anyway, Davey Williamson was playing on the Ironman with Eric Roberts and Billy Wing, and Shane, and Billy also, Billy and Eric Roberts also worked at the paintball store as well.
Yeah.
And so we were down there one time and we were on Out of Control, and Ironman came up and we are going to do a little practice against them. And I remember looking at him, like 16-year-old Ryan was like, whoa, like you're going to play without a face mask? And he's like, yeah, like tough shit, right?
Yeah.
You're a little, what's up, little kid? Anyway, so we're playing in the anise. And if you're not like well-versed in the anise, it's just like this thick, like licorice grass. And that's what Mare Island was like, had all over the place. And if you knew like the crawling trails, you just crawl through. It was like really dope to play in this. Anyway, I backdoored Davey. I rolled up on him out of the anise and I set like 2 or 3 into him. And like, as he turned around shouting at me, I'm on your team. One caught him right in the cheek.
Ooh.
Bloody welt on his cheek. And I'm like, nah, buddy. And then I kept crawling and like shot Micah and like some other dudes.
That one didn't bounce, huh?
That one didn't bounce. And then guess what he put on the very next game? Put on his face shield. Yeah, you fool. Anyway, I love that.
Yeah, because the stories that I've heard about, the anise and there's like wormholes, and it's just like you could guy right in front of you, and just crazy.
Dude, it's scary in there.
Alex brought up the anise to one of the layouts we were recently practicing. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember he brought up the anise and was like, maybe it was one of the Chicago layouts where you just gotta kind of go blind around the snake side. You just crawl the way down and go around. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to set up it's almost like, think about playing, when we're at Pendleton practicing, and when we're on the far side, when you drive up the back and you're parked right there underneath those eucalyptus trees and you look behind you and it's just this thick, and you're looking out there like, I think like maybe Alex ran out there one time and maybe him and Blake were running around. There's rattlesnakes. I'm not playing that game anymore.
Yeah, no way.
No. But no, like imagine playing in that. Like you can't, it's pretty cool.
It's the thicket.
It's the thicket. So yeah, anyway, we started the Iron Kids somewhere in there to kind of keep the team together. I think to play local events, because that was when half of us were on Out of Control Cap Factory and the other half were on Diggers. And we just wanted to keep kind of playing together as much as we can. So Eric also organized the Iron Kids and helped it get funded. And it was funded by us winning a tournament and then paying for selling all the gear and then paying for the next tournament, Wow. So yeah,
who would have ever thought that would be the start to one of the most powerful teams in the history of sports? I mean, you guys have won more events than any other team in paintball, and arguably in sports, man. I mean, it's a pretty deep record that you guys have with Dynasty.
I think,
man, it's
definitely
easy,
You look at like the most elite NBA franchises, they far exceed the championships of NFL franchises. And you got the Lakers and Celtics at like 17 and 16 championships. Dynasty is up in like the 50 something range.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's different. Like, you could say, it's one is like a championship, like they won all the games to get that one. So it could maybe a series title.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just trying to downplay it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. No, you are right for sure, because we play a tournament format versus a series. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know, or each game could be a
but still, if you broke that down, I think there's quite a few series championships that Dynasty has won.
No, yeah, there are.
Definitely up there. And like NFL franchises, I think the Patriots might hold the title with 6. Like, it's not, no franchise has won a series championship more than like 6, 7, 8. That's a pretty significant number. So
yeah, it's been I know, being a youngster, I'm 30 years old, and I started playing pro when I was 14, and you guys were the dudes. You guys were the ones crushing, and at the pinnacle of paintball professionalism, and I mean, just doing things that nobody else was doing out there and just crushing everybody.
Yeah. No, we had a very strong kind of like motto of just kind of making sure we were good role models. Cause I think that's something that is sometimes overlooked, is like paintball guys in the late 90s were not role models.
Right.
Yeah.
They were bad. Scary, big, scary, bad dudes. You know what I mean? Like Marty Bush is not a role model. Like Shane, Shane is a great guy.
Shane's great. Yeah.
But like the Aftershock guys were scary dudes, and it was like, that's what we grew up in. Like, we were playing against those guys at like the very beginning. And we thought it was really important that like, maybe they would look at us as the punk kids taking their jobs and taking over their thing. But like, we had to make sure that like we portrayed paintball the right way. I felt like that's just something that we had always done anyway. Yeah. And it's funny because I was talking to Dave Cheney about this when he was just meeting us when he was coming out of Under Armour, and he goes, dude, I grew up in the Badlands. Like that's where he grew up. And he was telling me that because he's like, I really love Dynasty. Like, I love you guys. Like, I think that he like hunted us down at a Whole Foods when we first met him. And he's like, I came to Orlando to find you guys and like try to offer you guys a sponsorship because it was so, he recognized how different we were than anybody else. And of course this was just recently, right? But like that was something that now he was in a position to be able to give back to us and to a certain extent. But it was interesting to hear it come from him. And he's like, I grew up at the Badlands and those Aftershock dudes were scary men that were like not coming out there to help anybody else but themselves. You know, they were like fighting people all the time. And I don't know. It's just like, that was never our MO. You know, we have implemented a thing for years where nobody on the team was allowed to drink in public at events. Like if you're going to drink, you cannot have a beer, even if you're 21.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So like even like Rodney and Chuck, like you guys.
It's funny that you felt you had to clarify even if you're 21, like because that's paintball.
Yeah, that's paintball. You know, like they're not IDing out there. You know, and I say that because like when we started, we were 18. You know, 18, 19. Right. Alex was 16 or 17. You know, or maybe he was 18 then. But like BC wasn't. BC, you know, you guys know BC. Yeah. You know, so it was like, but even Rodney was like 28 years old and maybe even 30 or something. And it was like, still, you got to put that in a red cup. And if that's me being 18 years old, telling him like, hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like because that was print. Yeah, it was print media back then. And there wasn't even like internet, you know? So it's not like things were popping up on the internet being like, you guys are, and it wasn't like we were getting any flack at all. It was just, that was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's also like why, you know, the one big thing, the great thing about Dynasty is like everybody who's ever played on Dynasty, and you guys can I think hopefully can attest to this, is like everybody wants to be there in that system. You know, we're not paying somebody to be there that doesn't really want to be there, which is the case on a lot of teams and a lot of sports, right? Like everybody who plays on Dynasty has a great time on Dynasty because like we all have good attitudes and like we're in it for the right reasons, right? You guys are in it for the right reason. Yeah, the energy.
Absolutely, pretty much anyone that wants to play on Dynasty takes a pay cut to play on Dynasty.
Exactly.
because we love playing on Dynasty.
That's
but it wasn't always like that. We're going to get into that. You know, Dynasty was ultimate crusher. So exactly how did Dynasty form? You know, we got the story from Yosh. He did go off and do his thing with the Ironman. How did Dynasty form from your perspective, your side of things?
So yeah, I mean, we wanted to go pro. We thought it was the right thing to do at the end of the 2000 season. We're like, we're gonna go pro. And actually, we had broken up with the owner of the Cap Factory team, Chris Hagen, and Chuck was like, we're gonna go pro, but we're not gonna be Cap Factory team. We gotta come up with something new, cooler. And this was kind of like Yosh was on our team back then, but then had gotten an offer to play with the Ironman. Actually, I want to take a pause here, and this is interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but I got offered a spot on the Ironman before Oliver did.
Oh wow!
I do know this,
and I turned it down because it was in the middle of the season, and I wasn't going to leave my boys.
Of course.
So there we go. I turned it down, and then it went to, and then the offer went to Oliver.
Hats off to you.
He didn't leave mid-season, but
he didn't leave mid-season. Yeah. Right, you're right. He did not leave mid-season. He left the next season, but then that was like he went on there, and I was like, man, we still have a good team, and like I know a lot of people do this too. Like it's like, man, let's stick with the crew, right?
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, anyway, so in the 2001 season, we started Dynasty. Chuck Hench started it with us, like helped us because he was like the sales manager or VP of JTUSA.
He was big dog at that time.
He was big dog at that time, yeah. And yeah, he really helped us like organize all the kids.
Yeah.
You know?
The Pied
Piper.
Yeah,
and Oliver wasn't on the team at the time, and then Yosh had gotten an offer from Ironman and was like, well, I could do this Dynasty thing or I could play for Ironman. Like, so he went to Ironman.
Oh, hey, sorry, Ryan. Sorry. I'm thinking of the year that Oliver went back to the Ironman in 2000.
That was different.
Sorry.
Oliver was already on the Ironman, right? So he was like,
so did he not, he wasn't on Cap Factory. What was he doing during that time?
So he was, right? So we were all on Cap Factory, and I think in 99 he went, or in 2000 he went pro. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So he just went pro 1 year before us,
and you got asked before that time.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
We were all out of practice. Yeah, we were all out of practice. And actually, Oliver tried to submarine me out there, and I was like, because we were all trying to get a ride down to LA to drive down there, and he was like, "Sorry, no more room in our car." I was like, "Oh, what?" And I got a ride down there anyway. And then Shane actually asked me at that, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing for the Chicago event? Like, we'd love to have you on the team." And I was like, "Oh, that's rad," because I played really well that weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's sick. Like, I'm not gonna do it though. Sorry."
Yeah.
You've always been so loyal to Dynasty, man. That's actually one of the more admirable things about your whole career is that you've stuck with Dynasty through thick and thin. You are Dynasty, truly. Like you, Alex, Yoshi as well. But like really, you have, because you've had more opportunity than almost any other player to go wherever you want, and you've stayed with Dynasty. You've built this brand. You've built this business of Dynasty and the team. So, I mean, props to you. Even though you're a big dickhead sometimes, you're also the man. Okay, so
Ryan,
you turned down the offer.
Ryan always has the best intentions. His intentions.
Exactly. If you guys just don't argue with me, it'll go way smoother.
That's right.
And everybody will be happy at the end,
How does that philosophy work with Camille?
We're all happy.
Flawless.
She gets it. She knows.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake, man. That's all. Everything in life is a piece of cake, especially if you just listen to me.
That's right. That's the key.
All right. My bad for interjecting. Back in,
no, that's right,
guys.
So we formed Dynasty, and I think so. Actually, I came up with the name because Yoshi and I were I was had a History 101 or History 201 class at San Diego State, and it just so happened like that fall we were learning about dynasties.
Yeah.
And we were actually funny, and I don't know if Alex told you this story, but we had a dictionary open, and we were a thesaurus in a dictionary, and we're just looking through different words like trigger words, like what's gonna be cool. And impact was one of the names we were looking at. And we're like, we're not gonna be impact. And so like we were coming up with these names. I was like, dude, what about and Dynasty? If you think about it, the name, but it's like to call yourself a Dynasty off the break is a really ballsy move.
It's pretty arrogant.
It's like a family, but at that point we'd been together for quite a while for the several years before that, and we won some amateur and novice tournaments, and so we're like,
you guys,
and it sounds cool.
Knew exactly where you were heading from the beginning.
Yeah, that was it. We set the goal and the intentions very early on.
That's right.
In 2000, it was the winter of 2000. I remember because I was on winter break and we're at Chuck Hench's house in La Jolla with the dictionary and the thesaurus up, and then
that's it. Man.
That's when we chose. That's when we chose the name.
People have been asking. I'm curious as well. Where did the Dynasty Chant come from? DYNASTY.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
Do you not know it?
No,
you guys know it. Oh, you don't?
Oh,
it's from a Method Man song. METHOD, man.
Dude, let's go.
Let's go, huh?
It's from a Method Man song. Who was the first to realize it? Alex?
No, Alex came up with it. It was Alex.
Wow.
I'm almost positive that it was that. But who's the first to realize it? I don't think anybody realizes it. You guys.
No. I mean, like first to realize. Oh, let's turn this into Dynasty. So it was my bad. First to create that.
Okay, I'm almost positive Alex came up with it. Yeah,
dude, that's awesome. All right, this holds way more water for me now.
It's cool. Now you're in it for life. Yeah, you guys can't go anywhere now. We're way cooler than you thought.
That's rad.
I love rap songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Might be the only music you love. Except you're not a fan of Colt 45, man. I don't get that.
Yeah, I think you ruined it for me.
Colt 45 and 2 zigzag, baby. That's all we need.
One of my favorite things about going up to practice in Sacramento is because I get to listen to Camille jams.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Like all the Bay Area hip hop rap songs, and they're all still nostalgic. I don't think any of the songs have changed since '98 when I left.
That's right. They got the nostalgia pumping out there.
All right. So you guys start Dynasty. You go in 2001 is the first year, right?
Yeah, we the LA Open. We actually took third place in the LA Open. We beat Aftershock, and that was probably
who's on the team. Who's on the 2001 Dynasty team? The very first incarnation of Dynasty.
Rodney Squires, Kevin Brettauer, Chuck Hench, Sonny Lopez.
Nice.
I think Opie was on the team. Richard Lochran, me, Alex, Oliver.
Wait, Oliver is on on 2001?
Sorry, no. I'm sorry, no, he wasn't. Brian Cole and I think Perchak. Yeah, Johnny Perchak. So it might have been 11 guys. There might be one guy that I'm missing.
What about Beaster?
Oh, and Brad. Yep.
Yeah.
And Brad.
There we
Yep.
go.
So
There we go.
Oliver wasn't on the team
The
the first
very
year
first one.
Dynasty was a team.
No,
Wow. Okay.
no, he
Okay.
came.
A lot of people don't
I
realize
think
that.
he came. Yeah, he came the year after that,
Gotcha.
maybe, or 2 years after that, and then Yosh followed right around the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Within a year. Within a year. I don't think that Oliver and Yosh. I'm so used to saying Alex and Oliver. That's just like
Yeah.
what I've said my whole life. I'm not sure if Oliver and Yosh came the same year. I think that
They
they were
didn't.
1 year apart.
It was a
Yeah, they
year
were 1 year
apart.
apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We beat Aftershock in the semifinals to take third place. So that was like a first, was a new pro team coming into the league
Oh yeah.
and like placing so well.
Yeah. Well,
then
those
it was-
guys, Shock was heavy hitters at that time. They were,
Dude,
yeah.
they were heavy hitters.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
that think of Aftershock today, well, they're not even a team now, but
Yeah, that's right.
which is really sad, as a matter of fact,
Sad
because
thing,
that
yeah.
is a legendary organization. They were absolutely heavy hitters. They were equivalent to Dynasty and Iron Man. They were the first real bad boys on the scene, kind of, and they were a really solid team. And so back then, for you guys to beat them in 2001 was a big statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And then flash forward 4 events, and we were playing them in World Cup. And if anybody's seen the Push documentary, or was it Push or Sunday Drivers? Must have been Sunday. It was Push.
Push
Push.
was better, I think.
It was. I think this is the one about that covered the 2001 World Cup.
Oh
also.
yeah, that's right.
So basically, it was us and Aftershock in that, like, basically in the finals. Whoever won the game would win. Yeah. And Brad, like, we put together this last minute push, and we had the flag, and Brad was sprinting it back on the I think it was on the Smart Parts field. They had this center lay down circle Smart Parts crosshairs. Yeah. As the center 50 bunker.
Oh boy.
But anyway, so Brad is running it back, and we didn't get the flag hang. So back then, so everybody knows, like, you get points for shooting somebody, you get points for your body's alive, you get points for a pull. I think it's like 35 points for a pull, and then 50 points if you hang it. So technically, we didn't hang the flag in time, but the reason we were like kind of caught up is because Aftershock was cheating their balls off.
Oh wow.
And basically, we're like, Chuck Hench was like, dude, I'm not going to sign the score sheet. You guys gave him a 1-for-1.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a lousy way to win your first World Cup on a technicality, but we beat them, and we beat them on the points, we beat them on everything. And there was like an extra body, or I don't know if it was I don't know exactly what the point margin is that we needed to win it. But Chuck was like, I'm not going to sign that score sheet until you guys correct this. And so Aftershock was like, we won. And then like 30 minutes later, they're like,
oh yeah.
we got to take that one away from you guys. And World Cup was like Aftershocks.
Yeah,
like that was their tournament. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you clarified that. We actually talked about on the Yosh thing. So I was like, I remember there being a big controversial ending to that.
Controversy,
yeah.
And again, like you want to win the tournament like straight up,
totally,
right?
Yeah, of course.
If Aftershock had won it, it wouldn't have been straight up either.
Right,
and who would have told the story differently? But it was basically like, and you see it in that push video, is like the ending is Brad sprinting back and like passing the 50, and then the time runs out. But what wasn't really portrayed in that was like what slowed him up on that run back, right? It was basically like I don't know if someone was shooting from the hip, or if like forgot exactly what the technicality was. It wasn't like, oh, was that what's that guy playing on a little bit? It was like
a big time cheat.
It was a big time cheat. It was a big time technicality that like resulted basically in like an over. It wasn't like that chintzy overshooting penalty that we got in Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Kyle shot in the pack one time, and they're like, oh yeah, that was the worst thing we've ever seen in paintball.
That was crazy because it was literally one shot.
In the pack.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was super crazy.
Yeah. Like if it was in the back of the neck, maybe, but in the
it was one shot. It was one shot. So wherever it is.
Slap in the pack. Yeah. But anyway, so that was we won World Cup that year, and then 2002 was our real breakout year. Like we went on a runner, like we went on a big heater.
Oh yeah.
In 2002, I think like we won. I have it written down because this is our 20th year.
Yeah.
I've been working on that project, as you guys know, to like get everybody's signature who's ever played on the team.
Dude.
And I mean, I think there's like 70 something signatures. I mean, like this list that I have here.
Wow.
I don't even know if you can see all these names.
On YouTube, he's showing the whole list. It's extensive.
An extensive list. But underneath it, I have all of our wins.
Wow.
And like 2002, 3, and 4 was like when we really like took off with just
going
over to Europe.
What was your favorite tournament win of all time?
So it's a toss up between two things. One would be Spider Cup was pretty epic because like the second that the game horn ended,
Yeah.
like
You realize you just won
we
Mustangs.
knew, and then all of a sudden they set off all the alarms on all the cars that were like,
Oh,
just
no way.
beep beep beep. And we're like,
Oh,
and the crazy thing about that
that's
Spider
funny.
Cup victory was like we were playing Strange in the final match, and we needed a flagpole and we needed to shoot two bodies. If we got the flagpole and the two bodies, we win.
Yeah.
And it's the difference is you either get a 55-inch TV, big screen TV, or a Mustang. You know what I mean? So it was like
Pretty big difference there.
it was a huge difference, you know?
Well, hold on. You guys won multiple Mustangs. It wasn't one, right? Or
Yeah, 5 Mustangs.
yeah,
We got
5 Mustangs. Yeah, so everybody gets a Mustang. They look at
You get a
tournaments,
car,
dude. That's
you get a car,
insane.
you get a
man.
car,
Yeah,
you get a car.
We're talking like 6-figure prizes,
Yeah.
man. This is crazy. Yeah.
Dude. And there are people that went to that tournament that bought one-way tickets. And they're like, I'll win this car. And they had no clue what was in store for them. You know, like, eating jelly donuts, bro. Those, you know, like, when they're camping there, they're like, don't need to worry about this. I'm about to be driving home on Sunday.
No way, buddy. The kids are
No way.
coming through.
You're driving home in that bus.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, so that was a really profound win, and I remember that one so well too. Is like we sent Eggman Alex straight up the center to grab
Scrambled
the flag,
eggs.
scrambled eggs, and I remember like there was a lay down roly poly is what we called it. It was just basically a can on its side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the flag, and it wasn't like anything like extravagant. It was literally like a rag that was hanging right over the middle of the 50, and I see Alex grab it and pull it down, and then like seconds after you see this other arm.
Oh,
Yeah. They went for it too because they knew they're like we need to be there.
wow.
And like so many media people on the field. It was me, Brian Cole, Alex, Yosh, and Kenny Chamberlain. And we had like the cheapest throw together spiders, the spider compacts. They were $99. I remember like all we had were our dye barrels on it. That's the only sponsorship we could get.
Yeah.
And we had, dude, when you shoot one of these things, it was just like a big cloud of CO2 would come out.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of drizzling. There was like 50 camera people and like all the refs on the field. And it was like, it was mayhem. And we shot exactly two bodies and got the flag.
Wow. So if he didn't get that,
Yeah, that's how close it was.
wow,
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
And then we won the Mustangs, and see you later. Have fun with your TV.
Yeah, see you later, buddy.
What a sick prize, dude. What a sick
Yeah.
prize.
And then after that, I would say like the Huntington Beach events were so rad. Like the amount of like energy there.
God, it was
I mean,
crazy.
you guys were both there. You know, like you.
I
It's
remember
so
sitting with Oliver and Alex's mom during the finals, and like I was already buddies with like the moms and stuff. They loved me because I was like a little kid up and coming, and the energy was fucking insane,
dude.
Like
it was crazy. You know, and we get that at World Cup sometimes too. You know, like there's like
Yeah, you do.
You know, because when they have the grandstands wrap around the entire field though. At like the NPPL Huntington Beach events, they had them on both sides, and then the stadium seating on all four sides of the field, pretty much, or three sides of the field, so we got access to the field. Dude, it was like, and then when they had it with the pier, when the pier was over it, so you could stand on the pier and look down at all the fields. Like, I don't know, there was just something about that, and just the overall atmosphere and the environment of playing on the beach in the city was something better than playing in a cow pasture 45 minutes outside of Orlando, you know, or like
Totally.
a soccer field an hour outside of Chicago. You know, there's like
the moment felt magnified. For sure.
Moment definitely felt magnified, and yeah, you just got so much more out of that. And I don't know, you know me, like I'm a huge beach ocean person, so I feel like there's so much energy coming out of the ocean, and like and like the air was like crisp, and like at every single one. This wasn't just one specific moment, you know. And so like those were really, really special wins. You know, like even when we've won World Cup in 2015, like that was a rad one. You know, like with you know, obviously both of you guys were there. That was a huge win, but I don't know. I just feel like. Well, like those beginning like the 2002, 3, 4 world Huntington Beach events was just insane. Like that was so rad.
It's because of the moment. Definitely 2015, the moment wasn't quite as big to me personally because of my personal venture. It being my first year with you guys, a legendary franchise, a team that I've always looked up to, a bunch of players that I've always looked up to with you, Yosh, Alex. Like it made it very special for me. in that sense. But as far as the moment goes, it wasn't near what some of the previous ones were, like Huntington Beaches, World Cup in, 06, 07, 08, those years. Hard to compare.
What about you, Ty?
For a paintball tournament?
Or I guess I don't know what. Yeah,
dude, we won Huntington Beach actually with Oakland one
you
season.
did. I remember that. Yeah, you guys beat us.
So I don't know. That's pretty high up there. We won the series title over Dynasty. We were the only team to ever beat Dynasty for the series title in 7-man.
Oh wow!
We didn't win a tournament. We only took second. We had
with Assassins.
With Oakland, yeah.
That was Bob's mantra back in the day, dude. He would win series titles on consistency.
Yeah, that's it.
Pure consistency, yeah.
So, I mean, those would be a couple, but just because I like prior to getting on Dynasty, that's why when I got on Dynasty, my fucking heart was on fire. Like being a part of this organization has been everything to me. And I've looked up to all you guys from Oliver, Alex, Yosh, you obviously, even the dudes from the past. I've studied all of them, and it just meant a lot to be able to play for the team, and then to beat you guys here and there when I was on Oakland. That felt really good.
Yeah, that felt really good, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were definitely a much more of a punk kid back then.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck kind of thing.
Dude, Tyler sent me a video on YouTube of in 2012, before I guessed with you guys in Vegas, I played 7-man with Tyler on this team called Explicit. The owner is a real douche. That's why it didn't end well. But whatever. It just is what it is, man.
Totally irrelevant to the conversation, but I know you wanted to get that jab in there.
Yeah, it's just because I didn't finish the season with them, and so anyway. But Tyler and I were on that team, and Tyler sent me a video of us playing against you guys, and he's in your guys' side of the snake, and Yosh is in the corner, and he comes out, gets smoked by Yosh in the goggles, tucks in, comes out again, and shoots Yosh, and then walks off the field celebrating. And Yosh is like arguing with the ref, like, dude, I shot him first. Yosh gets a minor, and we win the point.
We win.
We win the game because.
Oh, dude, the video's great. I'm gonna send it to you.
The video is great. The video is.
Did you guys send that to Yosh?
No, not yet. Not yet.
No, not yet.
I guarantee he remembers it. Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. You could send that to him. I'm not sending that one.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, we gotta send that to Yosh. It was fantastic.
I know. I will.
All right, so then Dynasty heads in, man, to basically take over the paintball world. You guys were the highlight of ESPN. You guys were the premier team. You were the young kids that were innovating the game, running and shooting, being able to be technical athletes. And you already attributed, you guys had this philosophy of being professional. You guys were the first to do that in paintball. 100%. You guys were the first professional team to really legitimize the sport. So how did that you guys already had the mantra, right? Of look, no beers. Like, we're a professional team. We treat it as such. We got to represent the sport well. You go in, you start winning tournaments. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a whirlwind, like we were doing so well and so consistently well, winning tournaments, that it just, we were having such a good time with it. And then just like, as far as getting to that point also was, we were shooting. So you guys know, like, our paint budget now is like 65 to 75 cases for a weekend, right? 75 is like the weekend before, 65 is like the weekend the layout gets released, so, which is a good amount of paint. Like, that's a really good sponsorship for the whole season.
For sure.
Back then we were getting a pallet of 120 cases shipped down for every weekend.
Yeah.
Wow. So like, and we were shooting like that banana ball.
Yeah. That stuff.
And it was the Great American Paintballs, which is what Alex and Rich, shout out to Rich Frazee, is, he basically he's a mad scientist, dude. He looks like if you paint a picture of him, it looks like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. and he's a genius. Yeah. And so he basically
real quick. So I don't know if you know this, Rye, but my dad used to buy paint from Rich in white boxes and sell it as direct hit paintballs back in the day. Like Rich and my dad were buddies back in the day. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do. And that's funny. Yeah, because and like, there was never such a thing as seconds, right? Like, that seconds paintballs, like he only made good paintballs. And if they weren't good enough, that he felt they weren't good enough, he would not sell them. He would toss them. right? So like you're getting the best paintball, and he was always changing, like tuning up the machines to make them perform better or make something happen. We had that was our sponsor, and that was the only team that he sponsored was Dynasty, and that whole endeavor was basically to help the team and help Alex and help all of us continue on this path that Richard saw that we were going on, which was like like a really, really powerful path. Like if we were all having fun, the bonding, and because Alex, as many people, Marcelo, you started like this, but you started playing paintball with your dad, and like that bond that you have from that is incredibly important. And Richard saw that, and then so he helped like facilitate, help like nurture that bond between all of us by helping us with manufacturing paintballs. And he was basically. It wasn't for profit. It was it was to a certain extent. It was for personal spiritual profit. It was for us to like have fun together and can keep that bond together instead of being cherry picked or instead of being like, I'm not going to do this or not. So like pretty much for every box that was sold, it just basically went in to help fund this project that kept us all together for all these years. So I thought it was very powerful, very, 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 very gracious as well. And so, I mean, we had a massive paint budget. We were shooting the best paint you could get. I know that Marcelo, you'd argue that one dye paintball that you had.
That was a good paintball, man. That CG was insane. It was. It really, really was.
But look at the CG, like
silver ball.
It was a blue. It was a metallic blue, just like our paintballs. It was crazy, like because we had that banana scented.
I'm down to say they copied you guys. I'm down with that. Yeah. Let's roll with that. I'm down with that story.
But yeah, like it was so funny because we were just beating the brakes off of everybody. And Naughty Dogs was one of our competitions, and I remember Rocky Newth, the owner of the Naughty Dogs, was like, I don't know. There's something about it. Must be something in the paint. I think that the paint makes people sigh. So he took the paint to a lab and had it analyzed because he thought that it was like making players sleepy or delirious.
What?
So basically, he thought that we were shooting these paintballs that had basically shooting tranquilizers at people, and people just like couldn't focus and like would fall asleep at the wheel, because we were just beating the brakes off of everybody,
That's insane.
Pretty interesting there.
And with that, like with all, you mentioned ESPN, like paintball was on such a bigger front back then that bigger sponsors came into the game, and they were because you could see you could see that like if there's a magazine picture with a cover, like that's how they used to gauge everything.
That's right.
There were no analytics like there are now. You can't be like, okay, I did a post on Instagram and this is how many people saw it. This is how many people liked it. This is how many people clicked the link. So it was basically, what's the circulation of the magazine? You sell 50,000 copies. Okay. And this guy has a clear Rockstar sticker on his loader. That is now worth X amount of bucks. We can rationalize the budget spend.
I remember one of my first sponsors. It was actually Virtue. Shout out to Mike from Virtue. But it was like if I would be in a magazine with one of their logos, I would get $50. If I was on a cover, it was $150. And so it was like,
that's how they all do it.
Totally.
That's how like big like surfing, all those extreme sports, like those like outside sports. Like if you have a sticker on your board or on your bike or on your helmet, like, and that's a very clear, legible. It's like it's written in the contract. If it's clear, legible, if it's a half page, full page cover, like there's different values that they place on everything based on the circulation. And I remember the guy at Rockstar, our local rep was like, man, we were just talking about you guys, and they were like, you guys are by far the biggest bang for our buck. They would pay us, if they paid us like 60 or 90 grand or something like that for the year for the whole team. I mean, that's bigger. That one contract was bigger than our entire team budget now. Yeah. Right. But they were like, dude, we pay motocross guys that individually or more than that. And you guys give us so much more exposure. And he's like, I'm not supposed to be telling you this because
yeah, exactly.
At the annual meeting, they're like, this paintball team is like the big thing. And so we were crushing it with that. And then I'll call him a jackass or a douchebag. Was like, took over the sponsorship thing for Rockstar. And I don't know if this is on topic or off topic, but, the guy was like the electrician for the owner, and he also had happened to play paintball. So then he took over the team budget thing, and basically didn't want to pay. He's like, oh, I can run paintball. Like I've got a team. like I know all about paintball. And so the guy's like, oh yeah, the owner was like, yeah, you can take it over.
Oh no.
And so the guy probably saw and was like, holy shit, we're paying Dynasty this, they're getting this much. Well, so guess who got sponsored? His team, which was like a division. We had divisions back then. Now at this point, like Division 4 team. He's like, well, I can call the team Rockstar Factory Team, and that's way more exposure, And like, so he gave it to him and all his cronies, and Dynasty just didn't get anything, and then Rockstar got a sour taste, probably because
wow,
they got zero exposure. Yeah, so that's how we lost that Rockstar.
You guys also brought Intel into the game.
Intel was brought into the game in part by a partnership with Activision. Activision was marketing the Call of Duty line of products, and Intel was making the chips for the PC aspect of that game. And so the way it was partnered together and packaged together was, and Crandall's a mastermind genius with this, Eric Crandall, who manages us still. They basically, a kid was a fan of Dynasty. And his dad was like one of the head guys marketing on the marketing side of Intel and Activision's co-sponsorship or co-branding kind of partnership that they were promoting. And so we got big bucks, 6-figure bucks from those guys.
Nice.
And that was simultaneously. So we partnered it, we packaged it by making it a tour. That was when we went on that Taste of Chaos tour. Did you go on that, Tyler?
What? Say that again. I'm sorry.
Did you go on the tour ever? Either one of you guys around with that?
No, I don't think so.
So we had the second best tour bus on the tour. It was Korn was the headliner.
Oh,
they had the.
I was 10 years old, buddy. You think I was? What are you talking about?
I don't know,
dude. I should have been there. I was there. Heck yeah.
This is actually really good for everybody to like listen, because it's what we did for the industry was kind of like groundbreaking on a lot of aspects, bringing in outside sponsors.
Yeah.
But like what we did was we had partnered with this, what I think it was the Taste of Chaos tour. I don't know. It was some Korn headline tour. Korn wasn't our thing, but what we did was we provided at this full all day festival, we provided free paintball. Right, because
I heard about this though. I didn't hear about this. It's pretty funny.
The guys that were running these big festivals would love, like they need more interaction there. So like they want you there all day, right? So anyway, we did a free paintball thing. We had reballs set up in a big mega arena.
Yeah,
and the concept is genius. And basically you go in there and you play paintball for free, and then you go on about your day. And then but we get in your waiver, we get to collect all the data. Nowadays it'd probably be a lot easier than 15 years ago where we're just handwriting all the data. But we'd have a local field or store come out there, and then they would provide 5 refs and 2 staff to run the booth, and then they just ref the thing, and then they get to put their marketing materials out there, right? So if you're a local, so it's invaluable for them, and then we'd give them 5 or 6 or 7, and we'd stack of passes every day.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was Dynasty was like the talent, and the way Eric built that up to us is like Dynasty is like, you guys are the rock stars, right? So you guys come in there, you sign autographs from 12 to 2, and then you play some paintball on the thing and like get people hyped up and have fun, and then you got the day off, right? And so we're all in our mid-20s, and we also had we spared no expense because we had no idea what the hell we were doing. We never run a tour before, but Eric got us like the nicest, dopest, insane tour bus. And we weren't like tour guys. And it's so funny. Like if you go to everyone go to one of those shows, and I know Marcelo, you have a cousin that's in a pretty popular band as well, but like all the other guys that aren't in the high part of the band, they're like penny pinching on everything. Right. But not us. Like we'd have 3 new Dynasty fresh faces that would come on every week. So we'd be rotating. And so we were there to like have a good time. Right. So everybody knew the paintball bus, like every single person on tour, with the exception of Korn, was like, let's go hang out with the paintball guys because they're super cool. They give everybody beer. Yeah. They always got like snacks, like load up because we get a rider every day, and like we would just it was rad. Like we were like it was such a cool experience. But the best thing about it was like we're exposing paintball to like tens of thousands of people every single day on tour.
Wow. How long did that go on for?
So that was a 30 city or 45 cities over 60 days across Canada and the US.
Wow.
It was nuts, dude. It was like a serious tour.
Yeah.
It was like
wild.
Insane. Yeah. And so every 7 to 10 days, a new a set of 3 Dynasty guys would go on there. At some points we ran out of guys. So we'd like our buddy, hey, Nick Hoyt, you want to be on Dynasty for the weekend? Like, you go out there and go on tour? And he's like, yep. I mean, most of the people didn't know, right?
Yeah.
We're signing autographs, and people would just come up and be like, Paintball?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is this your poster? Yeah, absolutely. I want a signature. Like they didn't have a clue, but now they do.
Yeah.
And so,
That's-
yeah, it was really well ran, and it was I think it was great exposure for paintball.
Did you guys know how special what you guys were doing when you were winning all those tournaments? I mean, what was that energy like? It's may never be done again in paintball. Did you know how special it was at the time?
No, I mean we were just like in the moment and having a good time and just kind of keep going on with like ride the wave, right? Like ride and just keep practicing, keep the promotional aspect going on, like just try to keep it together, and that was the big thing, and that's what kind of like has gotten a little bit more difficult over as like the industry kind of crashed a little bit, and like I mean we were rostering, we had a roster 15 guys or 12 or 15 guys on an X-ball squad, and then we had to like ended up having to create a second Dynasty team to keep everybody happy because everybody wanted to play.
Dynasty Dynamics was the first team, right? And then you had Entourage.
Yep. So Dynasty Dynamics, we started that because like some guys who were playing on the X-ball roster also wanted to play 7-man, but like if we didn't have a 7-man roster for them to play on, then Excessive would pick them up, and then Excessive would get them for the Tyler. That happened with Tyler Mashad. Like Tyler Mashad played against us, and we're like, God damn it, like.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we have to start a next 7-man team now. Like,
yeah.
So it was like big. It costs a lot to fly all these guys around, and people wanted to get paid because they're getting offers, and so like that whole shtick is that was really good for paintball at the time. It was incredibly costly for a group of kids, right? Like we were running the whole show.
Yeah.
Now, do you think because Rye, you went to school for business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And did you get your degree? I forget if you finished school. You did not.
I did not.
But
that's actually a really funny story too. Well, not funny, an interesting story, I guess I call it. Like Yoshi and I were going to school, and we're in our like upper division, upper grad part of the aspect of the thing. I also spoke fluent Spanish back then, and I was doing a minor in Spanish. And they're like, "Oh, you can't miss more than one class. Every class you miss," and there was no online classes. That was
right.
We were winning. We were playing in 15 tournaments a year, and we were winning 13 of them.
Jeez.
And back then, first place in a NPPL was 25,000. First place in the PSP was 20,000.
Yeah,
you guys are making money.
First place in Europe was 15 to 20,000, depending on the event. Then on top of that, like all of our contracts had like contingencies broke into them. So if we took first place, we got an extra like $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 from a collective of sponsors for every win.
Jeez.
So like. Yeah, and then we also had like merchandise. We were selling a bunch of like the Dynasty boards. Like we were like our own shocker that was selling like.
Yeah.
I think one year we sold like 2,000 guns.
Jeez.
Just smart parts guns. Like it was insane, right? And so I remember talking to my in what are they called?
Like, see ya. I'm out of here.
I was looking for a really good excuse to stay in school because I actually wanted to stay in school, and my mom was the first one I thought it was going to be like. Stay in school. She goes, you can always go back. Like you're never going to have this opportunity. Like this is an insane opportunity to be able to travel around the world and make a really good living at it.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, okay. I can't listen to you. So I go to the advisor, the counselor, and I explained my situation, and she's like, oh yeah, you got to keep doing that.
Wow.
Yeah. She goes, you need to just take a leave of absence. Like go do that. You're making way more money than anybody who graduates from San Diego State would.
Yeah.
Like
you're making more money than she was.
Yeah. She goes, the average salary out of San Diego State or out of college back then, they're like, you're doubling and tripling that, like do keep riding that out. And I was like, okay, well, that's not that. Who do you work for?
Yeah.
Right. But it was a good piece of advice. So yeah, I didn't finish to answer your question. But because we had built, we were in the building stages of something pretty incredible
of a brand. You guys are building a brand. That's what Dynasty is, and that's again something that you've been on the forefront of is treating yourself as a brand and turning everything you do into a business. And it's something that I've always admired and taken pieces of. It's something that my dad always taught me to do. Like you do
a great job of it too.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, again, coming from you, it means a lot, but it's important for people to understand, like if you do want to turn paintball into a business, you have to treat it as such. And again, there's nobody better to talk to about it than you. So you guys go on this tear
Mhm.
through those eras, which again, they're just magical eras. A lot of it's on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen any of these old videos, go check them out, man, because Dynasty really like that era is legendary in the game. It's not going to be repeated. It's like the old school Yankees or something like that, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
And so how did that progress to where you are now, right? You're now a business owner in the game. You I guess technically you're always a business owner with Dynasty being one of the 4 of the Dynasty guys. But now you guys have a gun manufacturing company. You guys broker deals with different sponsors. How does that all work? How does that all come together? Where did that all come from?
Well, I guess you know, to answer, I think there were a couple
Yeah,
questions.
sorry, I was firing off.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, one thing is you got to continuously promote and keep the brand in the forefront and the light, and that's also why, I'm so stoked on the team that we've built, and you put it great, and I know Tyler, you're in the same boat. Tyler, I know both of you guys get offers, and you do, and we're very gracious for you guys to have taken a pay cut to play with us, and now because believing in what we're doing, believing in this whole everything, and it's and it hasn't been the easiest road because we're not winning the tournaments that we used to win, and who knows, there's a lot of factors that can be attributed to that, but we've built a group of guys that can continue the legacy on moving forward, and that are so passionate about that, and I think that that's something that's really important to highlight. And then with that being said, being able to stick through us while we're developing a paintball gun and trusting in us, in our ability to be able to bring something to the forefront and bring it to light is shows a lot about your character. Because we have had people leave and try to come back and think, and we're friends before we're business owners, right? So we sacrifice a lot to make sure that we want to give away the farm if we can, and I think that what we've built up to at this point, both with Dynasty and especially with Field One, and your guys' backing has been tremendous, and the support that you guys have showed, and man, and Tyler, I'd like what you do on your social media, especially now that you're, thank God you have that weight of being a business owner off your shoulders, and you're now in such a happier headspace to be able to create content, right, and to be able to follow in all of your social media has been on point, really engaging. People love your content, and again, you same ideas, you're giving away the farm. You're all right, free stuff, who wants it, and Marcelo, you do that too, and you're the way that you have been able to build the brands, and like I said, the whole idea, and I know I joke about this, is come take my job.
That's it,
right? I always say it all right, well, someone's got to come take my job eventually, and that's kind of what we've wanted to build up towards, it's eventually one of these days, I don't know when, we'll kind of
at any time
have to slow down on the paintball aspect of things. But it's we want to make sure that we can leave it in the right hands.
Listen, Rat, I know you don't want to see me on Pro Tour. We saw what happened with Ronnie.
I know, dude. That was a sad day. That was a difficult pill to swallow in my career choice. One of the worst career decisions.
It was fun to watch, man. It was not so fun to commentate. I felt really.
I know. Well, I know because I watched you commentating it, and you guys didn't know how the field setup was. Yeah, Ryan's an idiot. Why does he just go to the back center? Well, because there is no back center on this field, guys. Thanks for giving me shit for running out to the same spot. There was nowhere else to go.
There literally isn't anywhere to go.
You just gotta guess and check.
Yeah.
Hey, Short says that he's added 4 bunkers. He's made it a little better, which is great. He's progressing. Tyler's actually going to play Keith Brown. Rye, you and I will be at that game. We're going to be out at ASG for the HK Army 7-man thing. Or are you not? Are you not?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that was happening just this soon. Yeah, and I was saying, oh, poor Keith.
Yeah, poor Keith. I know. I can't believe he's actually going to fly into town for this. Yeah, and I love Keith. Keith is a great player, but
they all got guns. You gotta put in the work. That's it.
Yeah.
No, sorry, dude. I was just interjecting. I interrupted you. You probably don't even remember.
No, that I think I was kind of
Yeah.
I thought I'd kind of like I don't know,
Well,
but no,
the
approach.
branding of Field One, the
Branding.
branding of
Yeah.
Dynasty, yeah, you got to give it away.
Yeah, we're working hard to keep people happy,
Yeah.
keep smiles. You know me, I like to smile.
Well,
Yeah,
and I
baby.
know Tyler and I have talked about it too. It's not, totally just all in. Like you guys have provided really good opportunity for us as well. It's not just the fact of like us being selfless. It's mutual, and that's the way Dynasty's always been. You guys truly are like friends and family before the business side of things, and of course there's a business aspect to it, but that's the magic of Dynasty is there truly is caring for each other. There truly is a friendship. If you don't vibe, you're not going to be on the team. That's always
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
That's for sure a thing. If you don't vibe, you're out. And not many teams are like that. And you can make arguments on both sides. There's a lot of professional organizations that they say, look, it's business. We want to win. And if you don't get along, you got to be able to put your stuff aside and come and show up to work. And that also translates in paintball as well. But there can be both. And I think Dynasty has done a great job of building both, which is amazing.
Sure.
There's really no other team that, in my opinion, that has had as much success and also does that. So again, that's just the magic of Dynasty.
I just saw your poster that you put out for your Force, that like art piece you did where you did a poster. That thing's awesome, man.
Sick, huh? Yeah, no. So again, we've talked about this, Marcelo. It's like, what are you even up to? Like, what is this? Take this opportunity this time. Like, you guys created a podcast has been taking off and is incredibly successful, and a lot of people are working on projects, and I've been really working to help Alex.
Yeah.
with like he's the only artistic friend that I know, and I hate always bugging him like, hey man, can you make this? We need this, and being so super nitpicky again. Like I'm just really nitpicky about everything. So, like all the May 4th release stuff with the May the 4th be with you, and like so I've learned how to create some of like the art. So I create that's what I've kind of been doing is working on helping with the marketing and the promotion side of things. So
it's tremendously important for any company to have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean us especially because I'm a little more disconnected. Like I'm not in the Field One office. I'm down here in San Diego. So like I want to be able to show that I can there's something I can
contribute
help out with
and
if
stuff.
Contribute somehow,
Well, you already know, Ryan, you contribute on the social media aspect tremendously. You're able to hit more eyeballs than all of them combined, with your social presence. So that's tremendously important there.
How did you guys decide to, take over what was Bob Long and start a brand, Field One? How did that idea come about? Did you guys as Dynasty, being friends, obviously growing? I can't imagine you didn't. I know Tyler and I are on this brief business venture we've been on. We're already talking about stuff, of course, like it's something you must talk about. Has it been like a long time dream of you guys or a goal that you guys want to do something in the paintball space together?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, like we've always discussed creating a brand, a Dynasty brand that we can like of soft goods, hard goods, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was always it's not just such a risk. It's very difficult to manage especially back in
the transition
manage the transition, like and be able to manage not only the team competing, and then you have to have the brand be successful, because if it's not, then that just kind of blew up a income stream that was loyal to you, and then you said, sorry, we're not going to do this right now. Because we have to focus on this other endeavor. And then so now we're focused, you're putting your eggs in a lot of baskets, right?
Yeah.
And so for the last 18, 15 years, like we'd always talked about it, but it's just so much easier when other people cut the checks to you.
Yeah.
And you just go out there and win and promote that product, and then build some sort of market, like loyalty with those companies, rather than saying, sorry, like we thank you for the support over these years, we're going to go at it on our own and hoping that win, because look, at the end of the day, like when we decided to take over Bob Long's company, it started from Eric Crandall again, asking about like, all right, this is going to be something that we can do. And so he took us apart, like at the end of one of the practices at Pendleton. I think it was probably prior to a World Cup when we were still with Eclipse. It might have been actually prior to 15 or 16.
Yeah,
I forget.
It was right around that time. And we were also trying to figure out a way to, get the paintball guns in house essentially, right?
Yeah. And like,
Yeah.
and we talked about it there, and Crandall was like, do you think he bought a gun? He bought up one of Bob's guns off of eBay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, do you think we could shoot this thing? And we're like, yeah, like, but
It'll shoot.
I guess, yeah, it'll shoot. And we're like, well, we kind of want to move and we were talking about right then and there, like at that day, like some design things. Cause basically we had to tell Eclipse whether we were going to be with them the next year or the next 2 years or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought it was from an ethical standpoint. We didn't want to like be designing a gun, knowing that our flagship model wasn't going to be ready within the next year. We weren't in an ethical position to be like, yes, we still want to promote you guys' stuff, but in the back end, we're trying to like undermine you guys.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that was also difficult to decide as well, because we had to kind of say, all right, we're gonna have to try to fast track this thing. We're gonna have to tell Eclipse, no, we're gonna do our own thing, rather than like continuing again a good standing contract that we had pretty much in place.
Yeah.
While working on the other project, which would have been the smarter thing, but again, like the less ethical thing to do. So. At that point, we talked to Bob, and he's like, "Yeah, it'd be super easy.
Of course,
you could definitely move the grip back and make the gun a little more, because Bob's guns were really small, and tight. But luckily, like it was definitely a steep learning curve, as you guys understand, to get the force to where it was. There aren't that many electro-pneumatic engineers out there on Earth that are willing to work for under the circumstances of building a paintball gun. And that's also why paintball guns are so expensive, is there's not many people that can design these things. Yeah. They're very, very complex machines. Yeah. So anyway, we decided to be, so after the Alex, Yosh, Eric, and I decided that would be a good idea, then we presented it to you guys also. Obviously after World Cup, because we didn't want the word to get out that, I think it was after World Cup anyway. So, but like one big takeaway there is like, we didn't just say, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. Yeah. Like, all right, guys, here's your new equipment, sorry. Yeah. It was something that we wanted to get your input in. And I know you always had an affinity for Bob's products.
I've been shooting it forever.
Yeah, we've shooting it forever. Like, so you're on board off the break.
Absolutely. It's full circle for me. I was like, hey, Bob's back. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes. So there hasn't been a lot of input or help from Bob himself, but that's actually kind of a blessing in disguise. Like we took all of our design features and keys and things that we've learned along the way that we wanted to put into guns, and we figured out what was the best way to do it, and we did it.
And they're shooting freaking good, man. They're shooting.
The forces are top of the line, man.
I don't think that we could have produced a better product,
honestly,
in that type of thing, and it's like, a lot of people have a stigma about Bob's guns. They always broke down, and they weren't like, we're not Bob's guns,
no, not at all.
Yeah, we just purchased his company.
That's right.
And then kind of like try to fix, and we kind of rebranded what he had, because with buying his company came a lot of technical and customer service issues, and I'm big into customer service also. Like, I see the value of making sure that people have a good experience, and so is Yosh. I mean, Yosh is on it,
Yes.
It's a great dynamic to have, and I think it's really cool. I know it's been said a million times, but like, dude, like you get one of the best players in the world building your gun with his own hands, with their own hands, and if you have a question about said product, you can call the Field One office, and Yosh Rao will most likely, or Alex Frazier, will pick up the phone. And I've talked to people online, and I'm like, because I do a lot of the online stuff, and they're like, oh no, I just had a 20-minute conversation with Yosh the other day, like he totally cleared it up, everything's great, I'm super stoked. Whether it was
a special thing. That's
super special. To make sure that he puts aside time to make sure that the customers are stoked on everything, and whether it's someone just trying to fix their G6R or it's someone buying a brand new Force, like you're getting incredible customer service right away. And fortunately, like we have not had any real hiccups that I'm aware of. Like our engine that we built is very revolutionary. People don't quite understand that, but like, dude, they're insane.
It never stops shooting. I've never had a problem with that. I've played in all the elements, and that thing just keeps bucking off shots every time.
Yeah. I mean, look, take Amsterdam for example.
Exactly. Our guns were the best ones there. Yeah, it was crazy. The forces have been extremely reliable. It's been amazing. Yeah, Amsterdam was one of the gnarliest events that we've ever played in, hands down. The mud, the rain, the cold, like. I don't even know how a paintball gun would work in those conditions, but the forces were working.
You guys
Yep.
took all the best aspects of all the paintball guns and all of your years in the game, and you created, your take on a paintball gun with all the knowledge you've acquired over the years.
And there's always there's always things to improve on, and there's always things to to go in the next step, in the next iteration, and we're going to be constantly innovating. As that's our game plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how cool, man. You
Yeah.
guys built Dynasty, which became a dynasty, literally, and is a dynasty, and have now started a company that I honestly, I think I speak for everyone here, I believe is going to be at the top of the line. If it's not already, that's going to be a mega time company, because everything you guys, again, Yosh put it really well. There's no other company that truly has the resources that you guys do for players that get to test the equipment and make sure that things are working great. Make sure that things are to the user's preference, like who better to do this, when I played with the Iron Man, I helped in R&D and stuff like that, but never was it to this extent. Never did I get to go out with
fruition.
Totally. Never did I get to go out with a gun and just play weekends on end or play in a tournament with what might be the next gun on the production line. It's insane. Like Field One has truly set new bars for the paintball user experience. That's really cool, man. It's truly for the players, by the players. That's what Tyler and I keep saying. We're like, hey, we're for the players, by the players, and that's your guys' business model. And that's epic, man. That's so cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Yosh would come to the field with a notepad, and he's like, all right, what number do you have? Okay, explain like what your feedback is. And he'd write it down, and then like he'd do a couple minor tweaks here and there. And then you'd come back with your gun again and be like, all right, does it feel better? What do you like? And I'm in the same boat, like for years, for decades, I would be testing R&Ding products, and like my input was very rarely had come to fruition. It's like, we need to change this. It's like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do that. Yeah. Oh, we'll see what we can add in here. It's like, whatever.
Oh, well, we're already in production on those parts, so we can't do that yet. It's like, well, why even ask me then?
Give me the prototype. What do you ask me? Do I like it? Well, if I don't, what's the it doesn't matter. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Rye, we've had you on for a while now. This is definitely our longest show, man. We could talk all day, dude. We're gonna have to have you back, but we do have a couple more questions.
Sure. Yeah,
I think a big one, dude, is like, what was it like playing with Oliver? Again, you and Oliver, you're talking to like, this is A and B or A and A, like however you say it. You guys, yin and yang, absolutely. You guys are the two most iconic players in the game. I don't think there's, maybe you could say Fedorov because he built a name out of being this foreign phenom, and then you have some up and coming players now, sure, but you and Oliver are the staple household names of professional paintball, and people that have done it all, won everywhere, won everything there is to win, built a business out of it, made it a career. You've done it all. What was it like playing with him? Because again, the yin and the yang is salt and pepper for sure.
Yeah, it really is. Like both can thrive alone, but I think work together better. And I know that you can take that work together thing as with a grain of salt, because it doesn't always seem like it doesn't always seem like we're on the same page. And you know what I liked Rusty's analogy of it is like, Oliver's an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. And he'll do things that you're just like, what the hell was that? But it works. Kind of like A-Rod. A-Rod's an artist, right? But it's also kind of like, you could trust Oliver substantially a lot more than what you can trust A-Rod.
Yes.
But back to Oliver is like, Rusty said he's an artist, and he describes me like an architect, right? So like, I have the plans, and like I know I could see how the thing needs to be built in order to create it properly. But like, without the artist, you just have this structure.
Yeah.
And you don't have anybody to design it and give it color. Yeah. And vice versa. Right. If you just have a bunch of art laying on the ground, where are you going to hang it? I don't know. I think I might be getting.
No, that's a good point. If you have a bunch of art on the ground, where are you going to hang it? You need someone to push it in place.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, I always love playing with Oliver. I mean, the dynamic that we have is unique, to say the least,
Timeless.
Yeah. And some people are like, man, you guys just never got along. But it's like, it's important to have that type of pushback, because without any kind of adversity, again, like, otherwise, if everybody just listened to me on everything I said, I think that we'd be still doing pretty well personally.
Yeah.
But without like any kind of pushback, like we need to know what the you got to solve these problems. I always explain it like this is a complex equation that we're out here trying to solve.
Yes.
And without all of our input, it's going to be more difficult to solve that problem. And there's a lot of things that everybody can't see as clearly, and with that type of, like not a roadblock, but a speed bump that can help you maybe figure out the problem better, So I think that we pushed each other to be a little better. And I know that he frustrated me a little bit more and than I frustrated him, I think, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. You'd have to get his side of the stories, but it's always funny because, it was, and you guys hear it too. He's like, man, Alex will be like, I wish Oliver was still on the team because now nobody sticks up with me, and you and Yoshi hang up on me all the time. Obviously, he's joking, but that was how it was. It was like, dude, Oliver could never do any wrong in Alex's eyes, and Alex could never. So they would always just automatically, because going back to where we grew up, right? They were the monkeys, we were the 18.
Yeah,
so
dude, that's so funny. Oh my God, I'm realizing it now. Because Alex backs Oliver like tooth and nail. Dude, with his eyes closed. Damn, it makes sense. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's true, dude. He's loyal. He's loyal from the beginning.
Loyal to the soil.
And Yoshi's definitely a lot more calculated with his responses, So like, I don't always get backed up because he's like, I'm not getting in the middle of this. But Alex and Oliver just terrorize me, Yeah. Like, you are an idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
And so, you guys had fun, man, and that was apparent. You're gonna go through your ebbs and flows and the hot moments and the cool moments, but you guys had fun and you produced wins, and that is what really matters, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I just saw Oliver recently. I was stoked to be able to go out there and like kind of, I don't want to call it reconcile, but like or rekindle. If you don't see someone for a long time and you don't talk to them a bunch, we just went out to Bali and spent like a couple of days with him. He got to meet Sloan, got to meet Camille. I think he'd met her before, but
Uncle Oliver.
Yeah, Uncle Oliver. Dude, he had and he's never really been much into kids or anything. I've seen him around kids. He's just like, dude. He was like him and Sloan like were best buddies. It was really cool to see. I was super stoked on that.
I love that.
That is amazing, dude. That's super awesome. Uncle Oliver, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be stoked on it.
Uncle Oliver. Yep.
Rye, what do you have? What kind of advice do you have for kids coming up trying to pursue a paintball career?
Yeah, man, you got like Tyler. I think this is probably the same answer you and both of you guys would have is you got to stay positive. I think that you need, and I know that sounds cliche. It's like, just be positive, but like
holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, it really does. You got to find the light in like all the darkness aspects of it. Like when you think things are kind of like really tough, you got to like figure out a way. And the other thing, and I can't stress this enough, you got to have fun.
Yeah.
Marcel, I know you probably beat yourself up the most out of anybody.
Physically, literally.
like when you make a mistake, and it's like you're that's your way of coping with it and building on it, and like you'll be very unhappy for a short amount of time, but like right after that, you're like, okay, I can shake it off and I can get back to the drawing board, right? And so on a microcosm kind of like scale, and you're just looking at that in a microscope, and you expand and zoom out to the bigger picture, like, and then look at the other aspect of it would be like myself or Tyler, which is like, Tyler's smiling 15 minutes later, and like, all right, we're gonna go on to the next point in our lives, right? And I think that's really important, is like being able to deal with however you're going to deal with that adversity, that bad outcome or the good outcome, and then turn it into a positive at the end. Right. So no matter how you're going to immediately like take in whatever's going to happen, because look, you're going to lose and it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But you're also going to win.
Unless you're a dynasty in the mid 2000s, you're going to lose more than you're going to win.
Yeah. There you go. Well, no, but this is crazy, but you have to know how to win also.
Yes.
Right. This is the problem. This is the problem with Infamous. This is the problem with Avalanche. This was the problem with Excessive, is those dudes started to win and they started to get like on like a little bit of like an uptick, and they're like, we finally did it. Yeah, Bob, we're the shit. And then they took last place in the tournament after that. It's like, it's really important that like, just because you win and you think you're hot shit in your area doesn't mean you can let up.
Not too high, not too low.
Not too high, not too low.
Like Coach would always tell us, like a train, man, like a freight train.
Freight train.
Just like
a good Crandall.
Freight train, baby.
Dude, Crandall would be a good one to get on here. I know Crandall doesn't have he's the most electric personality, but dude, he's been in it, dude. He's like and it's so funny again because like,
Absolutely.
have you guys ever played? Have you seen him play? Like again,
Oh,
like, I don't think we have.
I've never seen Crandall play, man. Yeah.
I know. How funny is that? Like,
Yeah.
think of it. He is a paintball field owner in the past.
Yeah.
He has been on teams. He's been in the Dynasty organization since before Dynasty was around.
Yeah.
He's been our manager. Nobody's seen him play paintball.
Yeah.
I've only seen him play paintball once or maybe twice. Like there's
Crandall.
it's funny.
I've enjoyed getting to know Crandall though. He's a good dude and he's a smart dude. He's really smart.
Yeah.
And he's also kind of quirky. There's some ideas he has with paintball. I'm like, Cran, what? No. Like the freight train, actually.
Freight train.
It's exactly it. I'm like, wait.
There you go.
It's funny that Rusty incorporated the train mantra, like
yeah,
like all full
circle, man.
So, what would be like your best advice for paintball players who want to build their personal brand, and become more?
That's a really good question, and we've taught these, like we've taught it before, and like talking to fields and kind of like how to be. You got so I hate the word influencer.
Yeah.
But it does carry a lot of weight. Like you have to be influential.
Yeah.
So when we first started playing paintball, right, we worked at the paintball store.
Mm-hmm.
That got us free entry into Crandall's Field and Mare Island. And the free entry wasn't like a favor. It was because people are going to come into the store.
Yeah.
And so they need us to be able to influence them to go to out of any of the paintball fields they're going to go to. We have to influence them to go to Mare Island. And so Mare Island would give us free entry,
Yeah.
And so on a much grander scheme or scale is like, you have to be creative. You have to be original. You have to like be engaging. Tyler, you're incredibly, like your guys' Instagrams are actually starkly different. Like Marcelo, you give a lot of you give a lot of like advice, and it's like, this is how, like, this is like yours are really deep in like the whole, like, this is the explanation of what it is that I'm doing and my project and my passion. Yeah. And Tyler is like engaging on the other side of the things, which is like, let's go. Yeah. Who wants this? How's this going on? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's like watching both of you guys do it. And obviously we kind of all like use each other, bounce each other's ideas off each other. But I think that's super, like, being engaging and being communicative, giving, and I like to take a little bit out of all of it, like, I'm going to hit HK and be like, dude, give me some stuff so I can give it away. Like, how come Tyler gets all this stuff? Short dog, send me a bunch of stuff down here. I need to start like being, giving things away. And anytime that I'm ever talking to any brands, any outside industry brands, any other brands, I'm like, the first thing I say is like, hey, look, what do you have to give away? Like, I want to give back to the people as best I can. Sure. And I think that, and I know that that's such a hard thing for some people who are like, I need to build my brand. What can I do? Yeah. But if you have a brand, you've got to be able to pull the people in, right? With engaging, clever content. If anything, asking questions about stuff, comment below, share this for this. And if you have the opportunity to be able to start like sending out things, all the shipping, like it comes out of, our pockets most of the time when we're sending out freebie stuff. Right. It's like, but I'm happy to do that because you get like a friend and a fan for life, hopefully, So like, just being there as much as you can, despite the fact that I know that Camille hates it when I'm on the phone all the time. Like, dude, if some kid in Sweden messages me and I see it on my phone, I answer them.
That's right.
As quickly as I possibly can across all the platforms. If you're messaging Field One, if you're messaging Dynasty, if you're doing this, doing that, like, and I'm trying to like keep people engaged and happy. I think having a good time.
I think you hit on it perfectly there. It's the connection, man. It's that real, genuine connection because the people can feel that. And that's so important, Ryan, how you say messaging every person back, liking everything that someone comments and saying thank you. Or just those little, real, genuine connections mean everything.
Mean a lot. Yeah. Showing that we are accessible. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys that because you're already on it. Like, I know that you're constantly like reposting, resharing, like answering the questions. And dude, that's like, it's huge. Because you'll get, and Marcel, I know for a fact that you get these messages, but you get some people are kind of like lost a little bit and they're like, hey, like your stuff is so inspiring. And they're in a place that they kind of like, if you're their hero and their hero messages them back, like that brightens up their day.
Oh my God, their life.
Their light, and you don't know exactly where the mindset is on some people.
Yes.
Right. So someone could be messaging you because they're
at their
there's nothing. Yeah, they're at the wit's end, or there's nothing wrong. Like they're just like, hey man, I just want to reach out to Tyler because he's a cool guy. I saw him in this interview thing, or or like, man, I'm having a really bad day. Like, and who knows? They could have messaged 15, could have messaged Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, Marcelo, Shaun White, and then Marcelo gets back to him.
Yeah,
and then they're like, dude,
yeah,
that was epic. So like you have the ability and the opportunity to be able to help change people's lives, and I think that. And I'm not saying like that's what we do, but like there are some opportunities to
I think we
be there, present,
do change a lot of people's lives because we bring, there's a lot of bad shit going on in the world, and we help people kind of get away out of that craziness that's going on and escape to the paintball field, escape the madness of this human reality that we're in a little bit, and get to have fun, and people really enjoy it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it comes from a true passion of helping other people, promoting what we do, and promoting paintball is a big part of it too. Being good ambassadors of the sport, which is what you made it very clear that was the initial intention of Dynasty, and you've portrayed that your entire career. And it's what I've always been about as well. And Tyler, I know the same thing, and that really is what it's about. If you want to pursue a paintball career, you got to treat yourself as a brand, as if your own body was a business, and you have to treat it accordingly, because advertisers and outside companies, sponsors, things like that, they're only going to be interested if they think that you're marketable, and so you have to be marketable by doing the right things. Yeah, there's
Ryan,
many.
You've done that better than literally anybody in the history of the sport. You always are working with, you had Febreze, you got these coolers, like, and even further back with Intel and Rockstar and all these companies, you've been crushing it in that department. Why are there not more paintball players that are making a business out of paintball, in your opinion?
Well, because it's tough. It's tougher than you think, because at the end of the day, there are only a few of us in the world that are able to do this professionally, right? And here's a couple of things: is like you're either on a team that gets paid to just play on that team, or you're on Dynasty, where the money isn't fantastic, but again, it's just like when I started, right? I couldn't afford to buy paint. So what was my options, right? Again, I could only mow so many lawns. You get $5 to mow the lawn. The grass doesn't grow every day, right? So you got to sell some paintballs to be able to afford the habit, right? Or the addiction.
It is.
Right. So on a larger scale is like, I want to continue to do this. Marcelo wants to continue to do this. So he's got to travel to do 10 different clinics in a year. He's got to come out there and he's got to get the Signature Series brand stuff up and running. You got to get other projects that are still in that same list, or you go get a job somewhere and you just play on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really hard to dive in head first and really take that leap. And because it is incredibly draining. Like, I got Sloan now, and Tyler, you have 2 kids, and
I don't even have kids. And when the season's in full swing, I'm exhausted, dude. Like, we land on Monday night, flying somewhere else Tuesday morning. We're talking about like intercontinental type travel. It's a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot, and you got to keep that brand out there. And Tyler, like I'm just so stoked for you. And it's similar to how like when Yosh was working at the archery shop.
Yeah.
He was at the archery shop, come home to just his house, and then go back to work. And then on the weekends, he got to play paintball. Now there's a weight lifted off his shoulder when he moved up to Northern California, a bigger place. He's now working for Field One. He's playing a lot more paintball on the weekends because it's not his day off.
Yeah.
Tyler, you're now out from underneath the termite mound. You're spending more time with your family. You're able to like focus on more projects. You told me at the beginning of the year, you go, I want to do more clinics. I want to go out there. And we got Anthony from Boston Paintball has extended some events to you, and like more people are, because everybody wants a piece of Tyler Harmon.
Hey man,
that's for sure.
Have fun.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like they see your energy, like, right? They see you're a person that's like a tangible person that's like there, Whereas like some of the guys on the other teams are just kind of getting paid to be there, and then they're complacent with that. And they're just focusing on that.
But it's important to realize like those checks are temporary. And they need a long-term goal. Like when they stop playing, what are they going to do? I talked to quite a few of my friends that are on these teams that are getting these paychecks, and you're not building something sustainable. So you better have a backup plan.
Right. like right now is a perfect example. It's like we got to keep grinding out. We're not doing clinics, but there's other things that we're working on, the podcast,
Totally.
marketing the guns, rebranding some other things, marketing a signature series line. And like, you got to be clever, and and that's the thing is like,
That's right.
if someone wants to take off in this world and become a professional paintball player, you have to realize that there is a lot to sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
And there is a lot of hard work in there, and you have to be able to produce also some digestible content and information that people can really understand. And then you have to be personable. You have to be able to be willing to fly out to, I mean, how many times have you flown out to Europe and it's just like you land and you're like, who the hell is picking you up?
Yeah.
That's
my very first experience flying to Europe. It was to fly to Portugal with Benfica. You know who Hugo? Hugo. But I didn't know who he was. I just got a Facebook message like, hey, we're gonna I think it was Facebook. It wasn't MySpace. I was 18. It might have been MySpace. My goodness.
MySpace.
But it was truly just a message like, hey, we're going to bring you out to play the European event. I'm 17 years old. I have no clue who's picking me up. I land and I'm like walking around with wide eyes.
Looking for somebody with a paintball hat.
Exactly.
Wearing their paintball pants in the airport.
So
yeah, you got to embrace the unknown for sure when you dive first into paintball and making that your career. You got to connect with the people and just like you, Ryan, you've built one of the strongest brands in the world by being personable and just being genuine. You're a genuine dude. That's it.
Here we go.
I don't think anything can replace the experiences that this venture has given us too. And I know, Ryan, you attest to that. Tyler, you as well. It's been the greatest thing in my life, paintball. So pursuing.
Absolutely. Undeniable. And that's, I think a lot of people that are listening to this can also, say the same thing, whether they've been able to travel like we have, or they're just like the experience that they get out of this and the rush and the feeling is worth it right there.
Dude, it's the biggest rush, even to this day when we go play. It's like,
Like jonesing. I can't wait till next weekend and we go play the big game.
It's going to be so fun. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pumped. Dude, I am so pumped.
I might train for that during the week. We got to do some hill sprints, something, get ready. We got to go out and have a blast.
Dude.
Rye, thank you so much, man. It's been a long one. It's Memorial Day. I know you got your family. I know you also have like a live thing later.
I got a live thing in 30 minutes. I'm going live on Facebook every Monday. Yeah.
It never stops. It never stops for this guy. Yeah, exactly. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think everybody knows, anyone listening here probably knows you can find Ryan on Instagram at Ryan Greenspan. Ryan, is there anywhere else you want to direct people to, let people know, anything like that? Any last words?
Just I want to obviously thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you guys for creating more content, right? For everybody to consume, and hopefully it's entertaining for everybody who's listening, and so support the sponsors, support their sponsors, support the people who you like, even if you don't like me, that's all right. You can go buy a Dizon Doc shirt if Dizon is the guy you want, but like honestly supporting the people who support us is important. So shout out to HK Army, Field One Paintball.
And your website, RyanGreenspan.com.
Dude, yeah. I just posted a spearfishing adventure.
From Africa, right?
I went to Central West Africa. That was a pretty aggressive, pretty hectic trip.
So everybody, go check out the Fandango video on YouTube. That's like still epic. Again, I just got reminded of how epic that was. That's from years ago. So awesome. And RyanGreenspan.com. You got tons of cool articles on there. You're always keeping people updated. His Instagram. You guys know where to find him. We don't need to tell you, but awesome stuff. Thank you guys so much, Ryan. Thank you, dude. We appreciate it. And we'll have to have you back on soon.
Yep.
Peace.
Ryan, I love you, bro. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Can't wait to see you.
See you too.
Wow. What an absolutely amazing episode. Full of knowledge, full of great advice, amazing history and backstory into paintball and what the game has become today. So much of it truly was because of the Dynasty guys and Ryan himself. So we really are thankful for Ryan coming on the show and sharing that bit of knowledge with us. We can't wait to have him on again. Guys, you can head over to Play the Game Podcast, to our website. Head over to ptgpaintball.com and check out all of our stuff. We have a bunch of merchandise on there. You can see all of our episodes. You can see our YouTube channel. And that was, of course, brought to you by Constant Pursuit. Rusty Glaze built our website. Our coach, our friend, he provides these services for any paintball fields out there. Anyone who's interested in getting their own website done, contact Rusty Glaze at Constant Pursuit and have it done. All right, guys, take care.